Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. The Nations Championship is starting up today, and the opening contest, New Zealand versus France at the new stadium in Christchurch. There's a lot to unpack for this game, which is why we are starting relatively early. But the French, once again, even though they may be missing some of their stars, they are a strong side. They were close in the first test match up against New Zealand last year. This new look All Black side as well, under Dave Rennie, his first coaching task for this All Blacks team. It's going to be very intriguing. See what happens here. But like I said, we've got a big build-up plan for this one. Looking through at the All Blacks squad that was announced, the key players to watch out for, and also just a little bit more about what is to come in this year for not just New Zealand, but also the French as we head towards the end of 2026. But we have already got quite a few people here, so it is greatly appreciated. I will mention there has also been a late injury change for the All Blacks. No Patrick Tuipulotu off the bench. Instead, we get to see the debut of Jamie Hanna, a man for the Crusaders who did extremely well throughout Super Rugby Pacific. He is going to be in front of his home crowd here, so hopefully does exactly what he did throughout Super Rugby, his good impact, whether he's starting or off the bench. Lyndon is here. Said hello. Welcome in, Lyndon. Hope you're doing well. It's interesting. The loose forward trio structured the same way as 2024 trio with Satiti, Sam Cane, and Savia. Says Tanatu, and it was definitely the loose forward trio that was talked about a lot when it came to this game. Having Peter Larkai as the 6, which is a position that we haven't really seen him play throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Having not Artie Savia as the 7, but instead Luke Jacobson. Now, at least that is somewhere that we've seen him being involved for the Chiefs throughout the year. And then Artie Savia as the number 8. And you're able to do a breakdown of all the Nations Championship and Nations Cup, like as in like which games are taking place, or each and every game that is happening throughout this weekend, because there is a lot of them. Of course, a lot of people just looking at that Nations Championship, but the Nations Cup also taking place. Games like Tonga versus Zimbabwe, Samoa, they are going to be in action as well. Will be very intriguing to see how some of those sides go for their later games. We have got there chuffed to see Luke Jacobson bashing some guys, says Lisa. And g'day, Hamish. Hi from Irani, Kazakhstan. Looking forward to the wonderful day of rugby. Go the Bok. Also, this is bad. This is bad All Black side. Dave Rennie needs to go. You haven't even seen them play yet, Kiwi Rob. What if they go out there and get themselves a 30-point win over the French here? Are you still going to try and sack the coach after he hasn't even had a single minute at the helm? Like, I feel like you're a little bit premeditated, mate. Maybe just give it a little bit of time and wait to see if the team actually works before you start bad-mouthing it. Can't wait for the game tonight. I don't want to get ahead of myself, says Wex City. And we have got there, won't be easy. All Blacks will have to work extra hard. And Luke Jacobson interests me because I think he is a hybrid between a 6 and a 7. I don't think he has the same work rate as Kane, but he has more physical presence in the breakdown. And yeah, he is one of those players, Jacobson. He's an intriguing case because every once in a while he has one of those games that I think show everyone just how dangerous he can be. But then at the same time, there's other games where he doesn't quite get out of third gear. And this is the type of matchup against the French, definitely with Boucheton, who we saw absolutely tearing it up not too long ago for Bordeaux. They need guys to go out there and really just put on the 80-minute performance in terms of that loose forward trio. They have got the option of Wallace Satiti off of the bench as well for New Zealand, which will be quite handy indeed. How do you feel about Will Jordan playing on the wing? I mean, it's kind of, it makes sense in a way, I think, but it also is intriguing that, you know, Will Jordan for his international career has probably played more on the wing by an extra quite a few games than he has as a fullback, even though in Super Rugby, of course, he does predominantly play 15 for the Crusaders. Let's go Luku and Jalibert. That is the combination that I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing, because we saw what they were able to do at times for France throughout the Six Nations. We've seen them tearing it up for Bordeaux as well. So yeah, I think we're going to see them definitely be two of the key players for the French in this game. Bookies have ABs ahead, but feeling it will be close. Yeah, we're looking through at the series last year between these two sides. They did play 3 times in July, and throughout that series in the first contest, was relatively close. 31 points to 27, the victory for New Zealand over France. The second match was a little bit more one-sided, and then the third game, New Zealand won by 10, but they had a little bit of a piece before with Basilio Tossi talking about this French team, and he said that in those matches, at times it felt like France weren't just trying to win, they were just trying to smash the All Blacks. They were making a bit of a statement physicality-wise, and I feel like this young group, that is what they're going to try and do again here, because they've got enough talent to be able to get some real good momentum and decent points on the board. but it's just whether or not it gels straight away. New Zealand, you could argue, have made a few changes that will take a bit of gelling as well. But yeah, it'll be very intriguing. See what happens throughout the 80 minutes. We have got who's defence coach for France. I'm not actually too sure who they've got in the French defensive system at the moment. Yeah, just showing the interview with Tom Staniforth. He's playing for this French side in that number 5 jersey. Our Box have a good team, but also players getting older, says Jonathan. And greetings to all, says Iron Lion. And also, I hope Jordy Barry and Quintapire maintain their Super Rugby form. Yeah, Quintapire playing 13. That was one that as soon as I mentioned about it, people said, no, it's not happening. Dave Rennie wouldn't do it. And then he does it. In the very first lineup, we're going to see Billy Proctor making his way off of the bench rather than in that starting 13 jersey. And we have got the what's your game of the round? Mine is Scotland versus Argentina, says Kahu. And exciting, cannot wait, says Stuart. Yeah, it is only sitting around about 45 minutes away from the kickoff, which sounds like a little while, but we haven't even brushed upon these squads and everything coming up for the Nations Championship. Do you seriously think Luke Jacobson, where'd that go? Luke Jacobson had a better season than Segner, says Kiwi Rob. You can't sing yourself out though, Kiwi Rob, because all throughout the Super Rugby season, when people have talked about the form of Ruben Love and the form of Damien McKenzie, you have then said, no, but Beauden Barrett should be selected for the All Blacks because he's got all the experience. So in that case, you've been saying it doesn't matter about form, pick the guys with caps. Luke Jacobson has more caps than Anton Segner, but now you're going back to basing it off Super Rugby form. So you can't have it both ways. You've either got to have your cake and decide that's what you're going with, but you can't have the cake and eat it too, unfortunately. You got to pick a consistent thing to go with rather than just chopping and changing to meet your narrative. We have got there the All Blacks are stacked with the best possible talent, says Iron Lion there. A shame about Tui Pelotu, but exciting to see Hannah. Yeah, it is going to be pretty awesome to see Jamie Hannah get that opportunity for the All Blacks here. It possibly was a debut he wasn't expecting. No, Tupavai wasn't fully in the conversation for this matchup, which meant that he was at least in the squad. But yeah, Patrick Tui Pelotu being injured, I think, proved perfectly why I didn't select him in my July Internationals team. He's just been too close to getting fully injured throughout the second half of Super Rugby. And hopefully it's nothing too serious. No suit tonight, Hamish. He's not a boy. I decided to go without the tie today. I got a lot of stick for it the other week when I wore it, so I went with just the shirt rather than anything else. Why do you mean 20 plus need coaches, says MMD? I can't tell whether or not that's like a serious question or like you're doing it as a piss take, but I'd like to think that it is like a joke comment and you aren't actually being serious. We have got there, what do you think of the game? Or what do you think of the game that is on? Will it be close? Why is Bowden omitted? Says Kevin Lalo. At the moment, I would say it's just down to the form that we're seeing from the other guys. And we have there Boucheton and Gazzotti struggle versus smaller loose forward trios in top 14, 6 losses. CS Sports Unfiltered. Looking through at that French front row, there is quite a bit of Bordeaux in terms of this French side. I believe 8 of their starting players are sitting there from that Bordeaux side. And we have got there, what style of game will we play tonight? Open an all-out attack, no box kicking. I think we'll see a little bit of kicking because it is under the roof in Christchurch, which does mean that this game's going to be a lot more fast-paced. So the kicks will probably be a way of having a bit of a spell, to be honest, because the way that they've selected their loose forward trio here in New Zealand and looking through at this young French side, I think we're going to see a lot of tempo throughout the 80 minutes and a lot of players happy when that full-time whistle blows. We have you there, where's your full suit, brother? That's disrespectful to the All Blacks, says Nazi. Normally, I'd have at least I was thinking about the jacket, but I decided instead I'm going comfortable rather than commitment in this case. Plus, anytime I put on anything more than just the shirt, I get a whole heap of stick for it. So I decided, we'll try the shirt, but obviously the shirt wasn't good enough either. So next time I just won't wear clothes. We have got there, good morning, Hamish. Says Albert, welcome in. And we have got there, you missed a few of my messages. If it makes you feel better, Tyler, I think I've missed about 500 messages since this live stream started. The chat is going at 1,000 miles an hour. We haven't even got into the situation of what is actually happening in terms of July for these two sides. FDAB says MND. Okay, so you just hate the All Blacks in your case, and that's why you say that they shouldn't have a coach, or any side should have a coach. We have got there, I do not know one person who does not like DMAC, says Stuart. And also, if Cam Roygaard and Ruben Love plays phenomenal tonight, do you think this is the 9-10 combination to beat South Africa? Maybe. I think that there will be a lot of experimentation from Dave Rennie throughout these July internationals. They've only got the 3 for New Zealand. Looking at what is to come for the July internationals window, New Zealand have got the Italians next week. That is a slightly earlier kickoff, 2 hours earlier than this game's kicking off today. And then they've got their game up against the Irish. That one at Eden Park. Now, I think we'll see a little bit of experimenting next week compared to that game at Eden Park. I can see that one being one that Dave Rennie goes with about as strong as he can to try and keep that record alive. Of course, it's been alive for a long time. You don't want to be the first coach to lose at Eden Park in over 20 years. For the French, they've got the Australians. Now, Australia in their game up against Ireland actually come in as slight underdogs. So that will be a bit of an intriguing one to see whether or not they can go to Australia. They've actually had some good battles with the Aussies as well, whether it's their strongest or an experimental side to France. And then they've got their game up against the Japanese, which they should be able to win. But again, Japan are one of those sides who love a good upset every once in a while. That could be very hard to tell there too. We have got there, I don't like D-Mac, never have, never will, says Kiwi Rob. And also we have their D-Mac at 15, nice, says I. But yeah, it was probably, I'd say one of the, well, I wouldn't even call it that much of a surprise because we knew that they were going to pick players. Is that Grandidier? Is he playing in this game, Aaron Grandidier, or is he just warming up with the side? They're just showing him there. Has he been called into the starting lineup? Or am I getting him confused with someone else? I swear that was Aaron Grandidier from the French 7 setup. I'd assume that he's not playing today. I don't think there's been any late changes for the French. And we have there, I don't get the complaint about Will Jordan playing 14. He has been playing that position for the ABs a lot. So here's Liza. And injury crisis at lock. This is the All Blacks engine in the pack. And I think the team is going to bend pressure up. Or going to bend pressure up front this match, says Rory. Yeah, losing Tui Pilotu off of the bench will be a bit of a hit, you would think. Jamie Hanna, though, I'm excited to see if that man can book himself a plane ticket to South Africa based off this performance. They've got there at the moment who wins the 2026 Nations Championship. They've got 44% voting for the All Blacks and 49% voting for South Africa. So they feel like it is going to be a Southern Hemisphere team. All Blacks lost their last Test match played in Christchurch. That was in 2022 up against Argentina. But of course, at that stage, this stadium wasn't really built. And we have got there, if the French and the English lose today, my weekend will be made. Says, how's it? And also, how's it, Hamish? Let's go, says Chill. Yeah, it is going to be a hectic day of international rugby. The first match that we are covering, of course, is this one, the All Blacks taking on the French. From there, we jump into Australia versus Ireland, then Fiji versus Wales, then South Africa versus England, and then Argentina versus Scotland. It's going to be about 12 hours or so of talking. So we'll see whether or not my voice is still here at the end of it. Will Jordan cover for fullback? The thing is, they've got like 4 guys who can cover fullback. Ruben Love can play fullback. Geordie Barrett technically can play fullback. Will Jordan can play fullback. Damian McKenzie can play fullback. And yeah, so it's similar to a lineup that we saw in some regards last year, where there were about 5 guys who had the cover of 15. Technically, I guess you could say even if Joff Morby was in the equation as well, he could cover the 15 jersey if needed to. Bowden Barrett the same. We've got about 7 fullbacks that can get that 15 jersey under their belt. And Rennie stated that Jordan's cover fullback. Says Rory there. McKenzie covers first 5. And also just watch the comment section of the new movie The Odyssey. What a horror show. Says Salah. And is Antoine Dupont injured? Yeah, he ended up with an injury just before the July internationals, but he also did play, I believe he played in that Toulouse final of the top 14, so normally you wouldn't end up coming to New Zealand in July anyway, based off what we saw last year. And we have their winners, All Blacks versus South Africa, says fortnight. Well, that's a good question. How long till kickoff as well? We are currently sitting around 40 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest, looking at the South African Greatest Rivalry Tour. That's what we've got at the moment. 35 days or 5 weeks away from the Stormers taking on the All Blacks. Then from there, the midweek game between the Sharks and New Zealand. Them playing on the weekend. It's going to be a weird time because we're almost going to have a quieter stage in terms of it's going to be absolutely hectic for those games taking place. But we're getting used to playing or watching about 10 games of rugby each weekend. So those weekends where we're only going to have maybe 3 or 4, going to be a bit of uncharted territory. But the first Test match is 50 days away. So we're getting close. 7 weeks and a bit until that first one taking place, and then from there, the 4 other matches in August and September taking place between the sites. And we have got there, DeMonte scared of Southern Hemisphere air. Says, how's it, bro? I think he also just gets very unlucky with his injury timings. Like, that man does a lot for Toulouse. And I know that some people just go, oh, well, he must not want to come to New Zealand or South Africa or anywhere down here. But it's no surprise that he ends up injured by the end of the season with the work rate that you see from him for Toulouse. We have got there, the Bombs have a chance. But whereas Atoje, he's in stood down stage at the moment, Maro Atoje, so he will be unavailable playing in that game. Would have been great to see him out there on the field, although they have still got some decent options playing one of their locks as their number 6 in that contest. Looking forward to this game, closest we can get to Bordeaux versus the Hurricanes. Yeah, well, 8 Bordeaux players in the starting lineup for the French. In terms of Hurricanes players in the starting lineup, 3, 4, 4. A few off the bench as well. So, yeah, you could say this is Bordeaux versus Hurricanes equivalent. Of course, we might get to see it in the Rugby Club World Cup taking place in 2028. But until then, we just have to wait and see. What do you think, Satiti, coming off the bench? I think it's a bit early for him to be returning, to be honest. But as long as he's passed all of the medical tests and everything like that, we've got to remember it was only less than a month ago, or about a month ago, in fact, that man was having a seizure on the field. And, that's a crazy injury to have, to then be back playing international rugby 4 weeks later. So I hope that he's 100% recovered, because that's the type of injury that you definitely do not want to risk. You maybe look at it and say perhaps he should have waited after July before returning, but obviously they've got much better medical experience and medical testing than just guessing. So, yeah, you'd hope that it's going to be all right for Satiti, but he also offers you that versatility. Great option off the bench with the fact that he can play 6, 7, and 8. And Origin's on Wednesday, it certainly is. It feels weird supporting the All Blacks as a South African, says Burning Lash, and Something Finau is our best impact loose forward. I think he's a big loss, is Tanner too. Because is he going overseas yet? I know that he was rumoured to be going overseas earlier on in the Super Rugby season. I don't know whether or not anything ever got properly confirmed that he was or wasn't going to be leaving. But I just realised, we have been going 17 minutes. I haven't even read out the starting lineups. It's lucky they're on the screen, or else people would have no idea who was playing. But we will start with the All Blacks. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Null, as the front row. De Groot having a strong Super Rugby season alongside Angus Ta'aval in the front row. Cody Taylor, a lot of experience at international level in front of the home crowd too. And he was up there in terms of one of the best hookers in world rugby just last year. Maybe he had a slightly quieter Super Rugby season than some were hoping for, but still can change the game at international level. For the All Blacks, Josh Lord and Sam Derry in the locking duo, and also the change off the bench. No Tui Piloto, instead it will be Jamie Hanna getting his international debut here. Peter Larkai plays 6, somewhere that he wasn't playing throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Luke Jacobson and Artie Savia making up the rest of the loose forward trio. Cam Roygard and Ruben Love as the 9 and 10 combination. It is the duo for the Hurricanes that helped them have a record season in terms of the amount of tries that was scored throughout the season. And then from there, Caleb Clark out on the left wing. I feel like that one, as much as people wanted to see Fihifini Arnofo alongside Josh Morby as the wingers, we were always going to see Clark somewhere in this All Black side. On the other wing, it is Will Jordan, rather than playing in the 15 jersey, because that is accompanied or occupied by Damian McKenzie, Geordie Barrett, and then Quinton Pyer as the outside centre in that case. And like I did play 6 against France for most of the match in 2024. Yeah, that was probably one of his rarities where he has got that number 6 jersey on his back. Recent seasons, they have been trying to turn him into a bit of a specialist 8 with some cover for 7 at the Hurricanes. But as we've learned from this lineup, it doesn't matter where you play in Super Rugby. You can play somewhere completely differently at international level. We have I think Luke Jacobson is going to be very good, or going to have a very good game. Says Tanner too. Now, looking through at this French starting lineup, like I mentioned, 8 Bordeaux players featuring, but the big combination is Maxime Lucu alongside Mathieu Jalabert. Those 2 men were phenomenal for Bordeaux throughout the Champions Cup campaign, as well as some of the top 14. Lucu, he never gets the appreciation that he deserves, because he is a phenomenal talent from that number 9 jersey. And if New Zealand aren't careful, he could be the one that changes this game for the French. Alongside Jalabert, who was one of the best 10s in the Six Nations there as well. Ada Sogby, he got to make some real impact off of that French starting lineup last year throughout the July internationals. Damien Penaud is out on the right wing for this game. No Biel Biarray, no Gabin Villiers, who we did get to see a little bit last season too. And then Max Spring slots in at number 15 with the dangerous Mofana as the number 12 as well. Jagu alongside Gazzotti and also Boucheton will make up the loose forward trio. Has the game started? It is not. It's about 35 minutes away from starting. So we've got a little bit of time until that one does take place. But we've still got plenty to go through in terms of the July internationals, in terms of the Nations Cup and everything along those lines. But they are just showing Ardie Savia. Last year's start for the number 8 jersey was in July 2025. From there, he was playing a little bit more in that 7 kit, but back in the 8. Been dangerous throughout the Japanese top league, having over 1,000 minutes played. And we have there, let's go, the All Blacks, says baked. And also the OBs will be forced to play fast and loose. They have no real power in the tight for this match, says Rory. And also, can I watch live here? Sadly not. Any match footage or audio will get us taken straight down off YouTube with a copyright strike. So we are instead going to be doing the live commentary, the play-by-play. But it is available on Sky Sport, Stan Sport, Super Sport, and a few other options are available for... Oh, they're doing some sort of thing how if a try is scored in a zone, the club will get themselves some sort of grant, I think it is. So that's quite cool. Now we have there, Jacobson might change people's minds on him. Like how Josh Lord did last year. Everyone thought Lord was wasted space. Now everyone has him starting in their team sheets. Yeah, it's quite funny how quickly it can change, isn't it? Because, you know, Josh Lord, as you said, perfect example of that. How, you know, last year people were going, he's not an All Blacks lock. And this year, you know, I've seen no one complain that he's in the starting side. In fact, a lot more people are saying he deserves to be out there. He's only had his 13 caps. But believe it or not, he's actually got more experience than Sam Derry. He has only got himself the 9 caps. But Jamie Hanna, he's on international test debut. So between the 3 locks, there are only 22 caps, which has to be one of the lowest we have seen for the All Blacks in a very long time. Because, of course, normally you have someone like a Retallick in the older school days, Sam Whitelock, Tui Pelotu in there, and even Tupavai has a bit more experience than these 3 men as well. Jordan playing, he's out on the right wing for this contest. 1 second, we'll go like that, and we'll go like that as well. And we have got the, what's the weather like in New Zealand? If it's wet, France has a chance to win. Well, there's a roof on the stadium. So whether it's raining outside or not will be slightly redundant, but it's dry in the surface or on the surface. There's a bit of wind outside, but again, that won't affect them inside. And what we saw throughout Super Rugby for the stadium is high-scoring games, quick tempo, fast pace. So I feel like we're going to see probably a relatively high-scoring one. Zuku, a strike threat. Does Bro score tries at will? He does, yes. He scored a lot of tries for Bordeaux. He also helped set up a lot of them, although it's very easy to set up guys when you know that big Ben Tamefuna is running on your side. Damien Penaud, Biel Biarray, all these players that he normally has with him at Bordeaux. Only Penaud is there for this contest out of those men. And we have got there, is Ethan de Groot playing? He is. He's in the number 1 jersey for this contest. He is the lone Highlander who made his way into this All Black side. Now, Timothy Tavatanawai in the first initial squad naming. And we have there, does anyone here think France might win? I think that we definitely need to see what they can bring to the table first. Because I don't think that France are completely out of the equation for an upset here. Now, of course, that can be the sentence that gets me in a little bit of trouble. But for the All Blacks, this is still a very different looking team in terms of, you know, we're going to see new tactics under Dave Rennie. So I would say that it's definitely going to be a bit of an adjustment for both sides early on in the game. However, there Quinta Pai to score his first, or this first try, says Aaron. And thanks, H. Then France will have to play like the Springboks face to face, says Reno. And also we were there, Hemi from Jared, and also the rugby ball from Daniel there. But do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already. We talked about what is to come for the All Blacks, but we will look through at what is to come for France after the July internationals, where they do still have their 2 more matches up against Australia and Japan. They have a little bit of a layoff before they get back underway for what is almost considered the start of their season. They've got the Six Nations just a little bit afterwards in February, but throughout November, it is the Nations Championship still. They will be playing Fiji, South Africa, and Argentina. Now, the big benefit that they've got is they will be playing those games at home rather than away. But I do still think that France, they probably aren't fully focused on the Nations Championship, but if they make it through to the final or the semi-finals, they will certainly be looking to win the competition. They were the Six Nations champions of 2026. We're looking to go back-to-back in that title department there as well. For New Zealand, in terms of their November internationals, they have got their contests up against Scotland, Wales, and England. But before then, they've got the Bleus Cup matches up against Australia. First one on the 10th of October and the second on the 17th. And before that, they've got the greatest rivalry tour. So it's a very long season for New Zealand. They have got, of course, the 3 games in July. Then they've got all of these matches to my side, and then all of these games too, which is where it's going to be tested about Dave Rennie's depth of his side. It's going to be quite a big team heading over to South Africa, which is understandable with the amount of players that will be taking part throughout the midweek matches as well. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hectic old time for the All Blacks in international rugby. We have got the he was clear, but they didn't want to risk him like the Chiefs did with Satiti in the final. Says Liza. And bro, I'm nervous. France will not be the pushover team. Some seem to think they will be, says Sakai. Well, all you got to do is look back at that first game up against them last year and see that, 4 points difference. And the All Blacks, all throughout the week and all throughout the month prior, had heard all about how France were disrespecting them with this weak French side. And then that weak French side almost went out and beat the All Blacks down in Dunedin. So, it's all well and good criticising the selections that France have done, but you got to do it after this side get the job done. Because anyone who's been saying it beforehand have the chance of ended up with the foot in the mouth because of this French side, I think, being more than capable of keeping close in this game. The hunger of these young players, the types of guys that we saw last year in Gilliard is a perfect example. Going out there and trying to make a name for yourself, that can sometimes be way more motivating. And that's why, we definitely need to see what this French side are going to bring to the table before we get too carried away about a big All Blacks win. They have played 9 games in Christchurch. The All Blacks have won 8. The French have won 1. But of course, they have never had this game up against France at this stadium. And the All Blacks have won 28 of their past 31 season openers. And have won 12 tests in a row versus France and New Zealand. All of these stats are either going to be helping them in the long run or just making it that much more painful if France can get the job done. I think Zvahi was apparently cleared of concussion earlier in the week. And they said he was concussed again and couldn't pick him. It was a blow, says Rory. Tell you what, the chat is going at an absolute 1,000 miles an hour at the moment. G'day, Hamish, mate, from Brisbane. Everybody put All Blacks in the chat. If you're back in New Zealand, says Foot Patrol. And we have got there, help me understand, says Hammy. Says Jared. Who is the ref, says Reno. That's a very good question. I don't even know who the referee is in charge of this game. I know that Marius van der Vesterhuizen is the TMO. As that's going to be broken any time, says Rory. That is true. Which is why stats are quite a lot of fun. Because you look at them and it tells people almost a different perspective. Because 80 minutes is all it takes. And I think that we're going to see the first 15 to 20 minutes of this game be a bit of a feeling out process for the All Blacks. I don't think they're going to go absolutely pedal to the metal right from the get-go. Oh, no All Blacks head coach has ever lost their first test in New Zealand is another stat that they're just showing for Dave Rennie. France don't have to lose players in New Zealand have a locking crisis as we speak, says Rory. And we have their morning Hammy. How many minutes till kickoff? We have currently got 25 minutes till the kickoff of this contest. There's another game just around the corner as well, which is going to be happening between Ireland and Australia. And come on, Ham, thought you would have brought the tie out for such an important game. Well, I brought the tie out last week and I got non-stop stick for it. So I decided to go without it on this live stream. But now I'm getting non-stop stick for not having the tie. So you really can't win, I guess. And we have got there, thanks. But I think the ref will play a role in this game. See, So you don't know who the referee is, but you already are saying that the referee's going to impact how this game is played. Like, don't get me wrong, the two sides will have to adapt, but sometimes the players need the responsibility of trying to win a game rather than having the referee as their backup plan as to why they've lost it. They know what they need to do for this 80 minutes here, France as well as the All Blacks. So, like, yeah, referees, I think it's just because we've done so many streams. I'm slightly sick of the whole "the referee cost us the game" motto that a lot of sides do like to base their mindset off. Definitely when sides are dropping the ball 20 times in a game. It's like, well, the referee didn't make you do that. So for me, you can win this game without a referee. And I think that that's what both of these sides will be focused on doing. They'll stick to their game plan. They'll have to adapt to the calls that the referee makes, but it's not going to change who wins this game unless it's like some sort of really big one-off moment that completely changes it. What is the game of the weekend for myself? Springboks versus England. Says Brandon. It's certainly a big game, that one. England not playing in South Africa since 2018. So it's been quite some time. Of course, some of their players have been over there since then with the British and Irish Lions. But yeah, it's been 2018, the last time that we saw them on South African soil. Ireland versus Australia, I think, could actually be one of the better games of the weekend in terms of closeness. And we have got there, depending on the ref, it's in the URC Six Nations, says Reno. Luke Pearce is the ref. I like Luke Pearce. He'll be all right then. I don't think that will be too rough in that department. We have got there, I want the All Blacks to win. But I think these French guys look ready to prove a point. Says remixes. And also, we have got Rory. What does that mean? Is the AI. They have injured international locks. So he's saying that the All Blacks are going to be weak in the locking department. Although based off form, you could also argue that they should be pretty handy. Someone's grandpa's in the stands with his shirt off at the moment, and the game hasn't even started. What time is this game starting in South Africa? It is starting in around 23 minutes time, so it must be 9:10 a.m. in South Africa. We have got there also, hold another minute. Tell you what, the chat's flying too quickly. I'm trying to read half of them and then they just go. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll go like that. Just before we get into it too far, ladies and gentlemen, I will also show you this All Black squad. Now, the injury cover of Jamie Hanna, he is actually going to be starting or getting his debut here. He will be making his way off of the bench rather than Patrick Tuipulotu. We also see the debutant off of the bench of Fehi Frianofo as well as Xavier Numia. So the only man who hasn't got himself a cap in terms of the forwards now is Anton Segner, and the only man who hasn't got himself a cap in the backs is Josh Morby. More than likely, we'll see one, if not both of those men in the game next weekend up against the Italians. Although, of course, it's not going to be completely impossible to see. I think we're going to see one of the debutants in the starting lineup next week, to be honest. I'm looking at someone like a Fehi Frianofo or Xavier Numia. Maybe they even go with the All Hurricanes front row up against the Italians just to test them out a little bit. We have how fair is it that Wales get to play at home against Fiji, says Kiwi Rob. It's where the money is. Fiji agreed as well. It is a shame that they don't get to play their games in Fiji, and the sad reality is they make more money by playing over there than they make playing in Fiji. So, you know, is it unfortunate for the Fijians? Yes. But is it also financially smart, unfortunately, for them to do? Yes. We have there, Luke Pearce has been quite dodgy in the URC, says Reno. Okay, so you're saying he's going to cost both of these sides this game? Or who do you think he hates more, Reno, if we're playing the who does the ref hate game? Is he going to cost the All Blacks or is he going to cost the French? Who do you think? Let us know now. We have got there, let's go, says Just Poker. And is this game... Oh, it's going to be played at the new stadium in Christchurch. It certainly is. They added more in terms of the stadium capacity. I think they added 5,000 temporary seats. Cost them about $500,000 or something to be able to set up, which is pretty impressive. Why Rennie didn't start Segner, he's in hot form, says Remixes. I would say that Dave Rennie's got a plan. And that plan was to play 3 guys who normally play 7 as a loose forward trio. But no, I think that Segner, his time will come. This game up against the French, obviously Rennie was looking for something else other than what Segner brings. But we're going to see... The reality is Segner will play in July. We have got there, is Jason a friend trolling you? No, Jason is just a troll in general. who normally does this every stream. We have got there, I'm not sure why Segner didn't start, but he may be one of those players with an injury. That is true. Could it also end up being a bit of a... Well, I forgot what I was saying. I've just seen a message from my uncle. He is currently overseas, watching from Rome. And yeah, he's just said a comment about Luke Pearce that I cannot say on the live stream. I think he will miss calls as seen, but watch the rucks and mauls, says Reno. And also All Blacks are running like Bulls Buffalo tonight. Go the All Blacks. Show the world how mighty you are. Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting scenario in terms of what type of tactics we see. Are we going to see it a little bit more down the route of the way that the Hurricanes were able to play? Scoring try after try, looking to get it into the wide channels. We've got to remember, Will Jordan out on the wing has scored a lot of tries in an international kit. Caleb Clark, as much as people weren't completely sold on his regular season form, I do still think that at international level, he does normally crank it up to the next level. Plus, he is safe under that high ball. New Zealand may look to try out those short kickoffs, trying to slap that ball back onto their side and just attack right from the get-go. What did the Aussie do to Quaid? What do you mean? He is actually helping out in the commentary box, isn't he, alongside Angus Ta'aval, whereas Biarritz still in France. We have there, kia ora, Hamish, uncle overseas, mate, enjoy the stream. And Ada Sogby to score the first try. I tell you what, Ada Sogby was really strong last year throughout the July internationals, and I do think that, see, there are so many players last year who stepped up and proved that they should be in this equation in terms of this French side. Jagu, he is always going to be playing at a high tempo. Boucheton can absolutely tear it up when he's getting his rhythm going. And Marco Gazzotti, a good build for a number 8 off the back. He'll be going head-to-head with Artie Savia, so that is going to be an awesome one. 7:05 kickoff, 7:10 kickoff for this contest. They're starting slightly later for this game at One New Zealand Stadium. So yeah, 7:10, 5:10 next week, and then 7:10 the week after. We have got there, France aren't scoring first, says Alumi. And afternoon, Hamish says, Daniel Watson, welcome in, hope you're doing well. Is it Kiwi Lads Discord still around? It is, but it's not really the same as it was. What happened was we ended up with a whole heap of people trying to spam on it, and they were saying a whole heap of offensive stuff, so now I'm the only one who can actually post on it, which sucks, but at the same time, I had to do it because or else, people were just being stupid. We have got there, that is a good French back as well. And we have got there, you look amazing, no tie, good, more relaxed. Yeah, I'm certainly going to be enjoying the no tie in about the 10th hour of commentary. And also we have there, Caleb Clark is one of the players who actually played well for the Blues, says Liza. Yeah, I'd say that there are a few who fell into that category. I'd say that Clark, who else? Sam Knock, I thought actually had a pretty good season outside of the injuries that he did suffer at times. Sam Derry had a good season. And then also Anton Segner. I'd say that those were the 4 that come to mind straight away. We have got there, it's interesting that the ABs will try the Aussie trick to gain the ball from the start. Does the ABs have that type of player? I think that Caleb Clark has proven it throughout the last year or so. And they have used the tactic already, the All Blacks. So they know that it is effective. But, yeah, I don't know whether or not they'll try it straight away. But the other thing that I really enjoy about Caleb Clark, and I was watching comparisons between him and Rieko Ioane on the left wing throughout last year, when the All Blacks kick off deep, Caleb Clark sprints and chases it as quickly as he can to try and put a little bit of pressure on the opposition, whereas Rieko Ioane would dawdle. And half the time he looked like he was actually trying to avoid the ball out there on the left wing. So that's one benefit that they'll be able to use. They can either go short kickoff and he tries and slaps it back, or kick off long, and you end up in that scenario where there's a little bit of nervousness inside of the 22. And we have got there, how tall is Will Jordan? And then Rory said he's pretty tall for a back. Doesn't quite answer the question, so I'll get you the exact height for you. He is 1.88 for Will Jordan. Should Wallace be starting? I don't think so. I don't even think Wallace Satiti should be playing this game, if I'm being completely honest. That man was having a seizure on the field only 4 weeks ago. So in my mind, that would say give him a little bit more of a spell, bring him back strong for the South African tour. But yeah, I think that Satiti, maybe people thought he would have been in that number 6 jersey, or perhaps Simon Parker could have been in that equation as well. I don't think many were picking Peter Larkai. And even if you were to go with these three, I think that Jacobson would have been the more likely to sit at 6, but that's part of the excitement of a new coach, because you just never know what the equation's going to be in terms of where certain players get put. You know, similar to what we see for this backline. Quintal Paya as the number 13. Seizure on the field, man, take a year off. Says, Eamon, yeah, to me, a month seems far too quick. Like, don't get me wrong. They'll be doing the tests. They'll be doing the scans. They'll be doing everything right. But one more big head knock for Satiti throughout July, and who knows what his future looks like. Zarkai been in the squad for long. He's been in the environment for the past about 2 years or so. He's definitely going to be in the environment for a long time in the future. He had a phenomenal Hurricane season. He was pretty much on the verge of making the All Blacks. I think it was last year or the year prior. He works his backside off and just looks like the real deal. Satiti's situation is crazy. Dude should be resting, says remixes. And also, as Rico Ioane gotten slower since playing for Leinster, as he didn't have the impact of Geordie, says Reno. I think it's also different positions. Got to remember, Rico was playing out there on the wing as well as in the centres, but he had some very strong games. But you're always going to see more of Geordie Barrett for Leinster, because Leinster like to move that ball quickly along their back line. So Prendergast firing the ball straight to Barrett was something we saw a lot of throughout the Geordie Barrett Leinster era. So yeah, I think that it's a very hard comparison to make, but Rico also did have some very strong moments. And we have got there, please hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I think Rennie may never have been sold on a Rico at centre, says Rory. And whereas Tokiaho, a man who's very unlucky to miss out, I would say, because of the form that we've seen from Tokiaho throughout Super Rugby Pacific. He scored 13 tries throughout the year, but they've gone with the experience of Cody Taylor. And again, Super Rugby form is great, but looking at what Taylor did at international level last season, you can understand why they've chucked him in there. And trust you well, a good day for rugby, says Philip. There is so much rugby on. We've got Australia versus Ireland just around the corner after this game. We have there, Satiti was cleared to play the final, but the Chiefs chose not to risk him. So he must be all right for this game. Isn't that crazy, though? Like, that sentence alone. Satiti was cleared to play in a final after having a seizure like 3 weeks beforehand. Like they talk about player safety, and then they go, oh, well, he didn't look too flash. He literally had a seizure. He'll be fine to play in a couple weeks' time. Like, maybe just give him a bit more time before he takes his next head knock before you chuck him in there. So, like, I have huge respect for the Chiefs not risking him in that regard. We have there, g'day, Hamish and chat. Lots of people here. New Zealand by 1, please. A 1-point thriller would be a great way to start the international weekend. We had a lot of one-sided games our last almost round of internationals, with South Africa A versus Zimbabwe, with the Box taking on the Barbars, the finals of Super Rugby and the URC. Did he really have a seizure? I heard nothing about this. Yeah, in the game up against the Reds in that playoff final, what happened was he took some contact, and then from there, one of his teammates came through and just cleaned him up. We have got there, I don't really feel medically qualified to say when players are fit or not. Yeah, see, I'm not a doctor, but I know if a guy gets knocked out, he probably needs more than a couple weeks to be able to get his bearings about him. Let's calm down with the Satiti door. He would have consulted with a specialist to get a clearance. Specialist knows more than us on the YouTube chat. Says Foot Patrol. That is true. Although you can also ask Ili Katoa about how well the specialist did with him. And that man's still not playing because of taking another head knock after getting knocked out. We have got there actually one or more. More is acceptable. Yeah, see, more than 1 point would definitely be a good situation, because 1 point would be very stressful for both sides heading into the final moments, but they have turned the lights off in Christchurch. 10 minutes away from the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. We have got there any predictions on red cards over the weekend. Hopefully we don't get many, but I think we're going to get probably like 3 across the game. Scott Barrett is injured. He may be back at the end of the year, says Rory. Yeah, he's been doing some rehab on his back, Scott Barrett, so yeah, we'll wait to see exactly when that man returns. Fabian Holland must be getting a little bit closer to returning, but I'd still say he's after the greatest rivalry tour. Let's go. Says the AI underdog. And France says Herald. And there too, 1 million red cards, says Sash. Yeah, do let me know your score predictions for this game, anyone who hasn't already, as well as the first try scorer. Who are we thinking is going to run it in? I'm going Caleb Clark. And I think it's going to be a bit of a backline movement. I don't think it will be off a cross kick. I think they'll just keep on firing that ball out. And then Clark to finish it off. But looking through at the starting lineups, Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Null. They will be the front rowers going with a bit more of the experienced option in that regard. Josh Lord and Sam Derry, not a huge amount of experience available in the locking duos for the New Zealanders due to also Patrick Tuipulotu, the late injury change off the bench with Jamie Hanna getting himself the international debut. Peter Larkai plays 6 with Luke Jacobson and Artie Savia, the captain as the number 8. Cam Roigard and Ruben Love in that 19 combination. Caleb Clark out on the left wing. Will Jordan out on the right with Damian McKenzie as the fullback. And Geordie Barrett and Quinton Pye, something that we did see trialled at times under Scott Robertson. It is now back under Dave. Ready for the French 8 Bordeaux players in the starting lineup. Maxime Lemoth, his head-to-head with Cody Taylor will definitely be an intriguing one. Bumba and Perrault make up the propping duo. And then Tom Staniforth, the big man at 5. He is one to definitely keep an eye out for in this game. Boucheton, Jagu, and Gazzotti as the loose forward trio. Maxime Lucu and Matthew Jalabert. Lucu has been a very underestimated part of France rugby for quite some time. Because, it's all the talk about Dupont. But Maxime Lucu is an insane player. And I feel like he's definitely one that New Zealand have to keep an eye on for this game. Adesogbe's out on the wing with Damien Pinot. Max Spring at 15 and then Mofana and Brelbori make up the midfield combination for the French. The two sides have now made their way out onto the field. We've got the national anthems just around the corner and then we are ready to go for this matchup. But anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Lucu is better than that fraud Dupont. Says Haino there, and Pinot to score the first early try. And also Lucu has been there for a while as well. Yeah, he's actually had a bit of experience under his belt. And with the players that have been selected here, with 8 of them being from Bordeaux, it actually works perfectly. Because you're in that scenario where they can pretty much just do what they do throughout the regular season. Lucu is brilliant, probably fresh too after a few weeks off. Says Thuds Race. And morning go the All Blacks. I South Africans will be supporting the All Blacks strong this morning. Says Jason there. The All Blacks for the first time of 2026 will be making their way out onto the field. Do you perhaps know the bonus point system they're using for this tournament? I actually don't. I would assume it's 3 or more tries than your opposition. But yeah, we'll kind of find out. 4 tries seems too easy. I feel like you've got to beat someone badly to be able to get a bonus point, but that might also be that you just get 1 for 4 tries. But Ruben Love, the number 10 jersey for this contest after a brilliant Hurricane season. I think Lucu and Jalabert will be tough to beat. I've seen in the Investec Cup, says Reno. And also I hope Wallace don't get hurt, says Hobbit. Yeah, making his way off the bench later on in this game alongside Jamie Hanna on debut, the late change for Patrick Tuipulotu. We also get to see 2 other debutants off of the bench. That'll be Xavier Numia as 17 and then Fihi Frianofo wearing the number 23. The man has made his international debut before in the 7s. This is now going to be a bit different for the All Blacks. He scored 17 tries throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season, tied with Josh Morby, who is also in the squad but not playing for this game. And that man was able to set the record alongside his teammate for the most tries in a season. And we have got the hour long to go. Currently, I'd say about 5 minutes remaining. We've just got the French national anthem, then it will be the New Zealand national anthem, and then the haka to then get us underway. We have there Ruben better make love to that back line today. Now, that's an interesting sentence. And I get what you're doing. You're doing a bit of wordplay. But at the same time, it paints a very different picture than what he'll be trying to do in that number 10 jersey. I think we're going to see some sniping from Ruben Love as well as Cam Roigard in that 9-10 combination. That is where Jagu, Boucheton all come into the equation. Is it a good idea to blood so many new players in this kind of game? Who are you referring to, France or New Zealand? Because I would say that, yes, this is July. You know, you're early enough in the year. You've got a World Cup around the corner. If you're not new blooding or new opportunities for players in this competition, then when do you do it? You're running out of time, only about 450 days away from that World Cup. There are many forms of love, says Mike. And there too. But the French national anthem has been sung. Now the New Zealand national anthem taking place as well. Did New Zealand have a warm-up game? No. Their warm-up game, I guess you could argue, was the Super Rugby Pacific final for the Chiefs and the Hurricanes players. Is DuPont injured? Yes. Sadly, ACL injury. Or was it ACL or calf? It was a strain either way. We have got there if the All Blacks lose. I bet the public blaming Jacobson. Says remixes. The good news for Luke Jacobson is I think if the All Blacks lose, there's going to be someone blamed much more than Luke Jacobson. But for Dave Rennie's sake, he does not want to be the first New Zealand coach to ever lose on New Zealand soil for their opening coaching matchup. New Zealand have also had a very good record in terms of season openers, sitting with only the 2 losses throughout all of the years. And no yellow or red cards except when really dangerous. 3 points for yellow threshold, 5 points for red card threshold, says Roger. And there's New Zealand's first match of the year, says Rory. And also we got the hang on, Hannah suited up. What did I miss? Patrick Tuipulotu out because of injury. And it does bring Jamie Hannah onto the bench. So it does pretty much back up why I decided not to put Tuipulotu in my July international squad, because I felt like that man needed a rest before South Africa's tour. So hopefully nothing too serious. In that regard, we have got there, it's going to be a tight game, says KDD. And also we have got there, if the All Blacks backline click well, they're going to be untouchable this season. Laurie Manns lost his opening coaching match against the World 15 in 1992. I don't think that quite counts as the international. I assume it was in New Zealand though, right, Rory? Because that was the stat that we were talking about. But New Zealand have sung the national anthem. Artie Savia, he looks fired up. And that number 8 jersey today was the question all throughout the last couple months. Where was he going to be playing? Not just in terms of after Moana Pacifica went under, but where was he in that loose forward trio as in New Zealand? So yeah, it must not have counted due to it being a World 15 game rather than a proper international. And I hope Love just plays too, his style or the game plan. Not get nervous on the big places. Remixes, does Hamish have some mad Scottish surname? No, I don't. Morning all, may the best team in the green win. And also we have their morning Hamish and the ABs must start well, says Paul Floors. And lots of close-ups of Savia. They love doing the close-ups of the captains. They'll probably do a couple close-ups of Dave Rennie later on as well, when he is showing emotion, you know, when he looks angry or slightly concerned. But the crowd inside of the Roof Stadium in Christchurch. This is the first time we get to see the All Blacks in action from the new One New Zealand Stadium. They put in 5,000 extra seats for this contest, costing them about $500,000 to set up. So hopefully it's a decent view. Sky Open isn't showing the repeat game. Where can we see it on replay? See, normally Prime like to do the games, or at least they used to. I don't know whether or not they still do, though. Dialing in from Vanuatu, says Greg. So it is greatly appreciated you being here for this one. Anyone who hasn't already, let me know. Who do you think will win this game? And also, who do you think will be crossing the try line first? The All Blacks, they got some bright new boots. And they got some bright new talent across their 23-man side as well. 3 debuts to take place today. And All Blacks all wearing red boots. Yeah, I think Adidas have got some new ones out, and obviously the boot sponsors have come in. They're kind of, they're pink with a little bit of yellow on the back. And we have got their smash, these French men, we'll say. And thanks as always for doing this. Hamish just logged in. Is the stadium completely full? Yep, sold out very quickly. This game in Christchurch, they've got, I believe, about 30,000 in attendance. Terrible decision from New Zealand Rugby and Rennie. All Blacks wearing rainbow coloured boots. All Blacks wear black. Yeah, although they haven't worn black boots for a very long time. Most of the years, I think last year they wore yellow boots from memory. Some of them wore a bit of green as well, but they're not exactly rainbow. They're just pink with a yellow on the back. And enjoy the call. Good luck to both teams. High pressure game, says Remixes there. Morning Hamish, thank God for some rugby. I'm drowning in football, says Fleshin. And also reckon the All Blacks will give the French a bit of a Rainbow Warrior action in the second half. And best haka this year, says Brook. The French will take this, says Gavs. The All Blacks fired up for this game. It's about to get underway. The 2026 season, like I mentioned earlier on, it is a long year for the All Blacks. They have got plenty happening throughout the next kind of 3 or 4 months. What tactics will Rennie use with regard to the new players last 10 minutes? Very good question, but also no idea because he hasn't done it yet. So, of course, by the end of this game, we will know what the tactic will be from Dave Rennie in terms of when he uses his subs. I know that Scott Robertson at times did give them a couple minutes right at the end of the game. Ian Foster did the same the coaching tenure before. But 3 men to make their way off the bench. I know that Jamie Hanna probably wasn't in their initial plans for this game. But he's in there now after the Tui Pilotu exclusion. Theo Adesogbi. He was here 12 months ago in New Zealand. And we over there, come on, Les Bleus, says Haino there. Looks like going to Sydney for the Mardi Gras. I bet we lose now, says Tai Nui. Okay, so if they lose, you're blaming the boots. Understood. I think that some people would probably be blaming the schedule for today if the All Blacks were to lose it. They've been doing everything. They were doing meet and greets earlier on in the day. They were doing signings. They went to the Adidas store. They did like a warm-up thing. They've been all over the shop throughout Christchurch, but now they've got their game faces on. Luke Pearce will be the referee in charge of this game. Ben Whitehouse is going to be the foul play match official, and also Marius van der Vesterhuizen. He is the TMO. And we over there, the Hakamen business. Awesome. Go the AB, says Mark Payne. And Mr. Luke Pearce, I know you like some French, says hey no. But they are just waiting for the kickoff. There's a little bit of a feeling of anticipation in the Christchurch Stadium. You can hear like a little bit of a rumble from the crowd. Like they're just about to absolutely lose their minds. I'm keen to see how Rennie does things, says Rano. They're just showing Mathieu Jalibert from that number 10 jersey, but the whistle has been blown. France kicking off from right to left, and the All Blacks season is underway. The Dave Rennie era is underway, and the All Blacks lose 5 metres after that first contact. Quintupaia driven backwards by the French defence, currently 10 metres out from their own line. The ball in the hands of Luke Jacobson. They mentioned about it last year. The French came out and they tried to put on that physicality from the get-go. And it seems like they're going to be doing that again. Cam Roigard with the clearing kick from inside of his 22 off the left boot. Has found touch. Asking for a few extra metres there too. Now line out here for France. And come on, New Zealand, go. Oh, quick line out. Didn't take too long at all. It actually was a regular set line out, but it took probably around 5 seconds. Maxime Luku going away to the right-hand side. Finds the hands of Boucheton. 2-man tackle between Savia and Geordie Barrett. Those 2 men both having sabbaticals over the last couple of years. Staying in that All Blacks environment now, though. Mathieu Jalibert, ball on the outside. Pinot passes back in. Max Spring moves to only 22 metres out. Tackle made by Cam Roigard. In fact, no, it was Ruben Love this time. Now the big man, Tom Staniforth. 1 minute into this contest, and France are looking up the tempo early. Jalibert, short ball, they cut through, and they've scored within 80 seconds. It's Damien Pinot, and France are on the board early in Christchurch. And that is how you start your international July matches. Damien Pinot, 41 tries for his career. They got cut open in the defence, New Zealand. It's the initial first pass from Damien Pinot as well to Max Spring. Joined the breakdown. He covered a lot of turf. And then from there, Jalibert linking up with his Bordeaux buddy. And Pinot finishes it off. Oh. Okay, I think they're just going to check for some obstruction on Luke Jacobson from Demba Bumba, maybe. But I think that we're definitely seeing how dangerous this French side can be. That's Paul said, studs raise. We have it there. It's a long game to go. It certainly is, but they have started with a hiss and a roar. Maxime Luku converts as well, so that is going to make the score 7 points to 0 in favour of the French. Oh, the tackle from Ruben Love. It looked a little bit round the chest, and it is on Max Spring. It was on the far side of the field. Now they are TMOing it and checking to see whether or not Love is worthy of a yellow card here. So they're saying the try was all good. Ruben Love to make the tackle. He's a bit too upright there. Ruben Love, contact shoulder to the side of the chin. He was falling down due to the tackle of Peter Larkai, but you could argue Love can be a lot lower. So this is probably going to be a yellow card for Ruben Love here. And red card says A&O. And bye-bye Love says Jason. And yellow by the letter of the law says Nada Boy. Yeah, they are just checking this a few times. It did look like heavy contact from the first initial shot. And yeah, it does make the yellow card threshold. So Ruben Love will be off the field. This has been the most eventful start that the All Blacks could have been asking for, but not in a good way. We have you there, 25 degrees. And Ty Byrne has an opinion. Says Studs Ray and bear luck for the All Blacks. Says Bruck. So yeah, Ruben Love for his starting debut at 10 is now going to be making his way from the field for the next 10 minutes. And we have got there New Zealand a bad, says Mark Stoney. A terrible start, says Nada Boy. Yeah, well, at least in their mind, it can't get worse for the starting couple minutes, but the ball inside of the 22, Max Spring, looking to kick this one downfield off his left boot. Does get it down into touch. FMBS says Matthew there, and we wonder why New Zealanders would rather watch rugby league. Says Johnny Blaze. There's a shocker for the ABs. Now line out here, the first of this season for Cody Taylor. Now going away to the left-hand side. McKenzie. Looks like he's actually going to be going into the first receiver role while Ruben Love is off. Big run from Sam Derry. Another good two-man tackle made by France. McKenzie delays the pass to Luke Jacobson. Almost finds his way through, but Lamouth hangs on to him. Roygard looking short side. Snipes around a couple. Offload back to the hands of Caleb Clark, who's a bit off his wing. Now Roygard. Back to Sam Derry again. He's had a standout season for the Blues from that locking join. McKenzie passes across to Artie Savia. Tackled by Mofana. New Zealand getting some much-needed possession here. McKenzie with a wide cut-out pass. Looks forward to me. But it looks like they're going to say play on just for now. Caleb Clark makes a few extra post-contact meters through Damien Pinot. Short ball from Roygard. Goes to Sam Derry. Now, I will mention, because the All Blacks have still got the possession, if they were to score now, they can still technically go back and check that pass until there is a turnover. Oh, and there's a drop ball on the ground, but it was ripped away by the French, so the penalty awarded to New Zealand. This one will be about 20 meters out from the line. That is all the pressure, don't go missing. Says Shane. Now New Zealand have a bit of a decision to make. It seems like they might consider the corner. Yes, they do. Okay, so New Zealand showing a little bit of extra aggression early on here. And full pass says Hobbit. And also, could you get a worse 2 minutes? Probably not, other than maybe it being a red card rather than a yellow, which we are still waiting to find out. The bunker are reviewing it, or the TMOs. And it will either become a red card for Ruben Love, or he will get himself back out there on the field soon. But Cody Taylor gets his line out right this time. Now trying to heave their way towards the 5 metre line for the All Blacks. Taylor in possession of the ball at the back. It's not moving, so Luke Pearce tells them to use it. Sells the dummy. Didn't quite have a man in support. Geordie Barrett covering a lot of ground to then join into that breakdown. Maxime Luku tackling his opposite number, Roygard. Lamouth on the ball. Does he get it? No, there is the advantage for him leaving his feet. Josh Law passes back to McKenzie. Delays the pass and is shut down by France's defence. Pick and go from Clark. 2 metres next to the breakdown. Cody Taylor fires it away to the left-hand side. Will Jordan, 3-man tackle on him. There's a player that they have to shut down early, really similar in terms of Damien Pinot. And both those number 14s can change a game instantly. Josh Lord still under the penalty advantage here for New Zealand. De Groot with a no-look pass out the back. Geordie Barrett goes out to Quinton Pye, close to the sidelines, so cuts back inwards, tackled by Luku, as well as Ada Sogby. Now short ball to Jordan, knocked on. They'll go back now for the penalty advantage. Red card is the 20-minute red or permanent. I think it would be a 20-minute red. Because, yeah, it isn't like it wasn't a permanent red from like a big shot straight away. So, yeah, it would only be 20 minutes. And Luku might be the best 9 in the world at the moment, says Fleshin. It's a pretty hard one to argue, to be honest. I think that we're actually seeing the 2 best 9s in the world going head-to-head here. Now, Damien McKenzie again will look towards the sideline. This is using up the time of the All Blacks yellow card. So Ruben Love off the field for another 6 minutes. I love that shit, Hamish. Hey, you look like a Sky employee, says Sebastian. Hostoy, he has made his way onto the field, and that is for Max Spring. He is going off for an HIA after that head collision with Ruben Love. I'm surprised it's taken them so long to actually take him off. The contact was about 4 minutes ago, so obviously they've been assessing him and deciding that maybe he doesn't look so flash anymore. Which Tokyo was playing now, says Nada Boy. Rather than Cody Taylor or rather than a Safwa Moore, that's a stolen line out there for Jagu. Now looking to just get this one set so that they can kick it downfield. The French with Boucheton in position. Now Maxime Lucu, but the penalty won by New Zealand in the breakdown. I believe it was Artie Savia who pops up with his hands on the ball. He's taken the quick tap. Wasn't quite on the mark. It must have been close enough. 2 metres out from the line now for New Zealand. McKenzie moves it on to Barrett. Skip pass out wide to Will Jordan towards the corner. He's maybe scored it. Utter Sogby tried to push him into touch. The referees awarded it. They'll just check to make sure that he was in the field of play. Our 2 best 9s of the world. You're funny. So who are your 2 best 9s then, Bruce, in that scenario? Will Jordan currently, though, the first try for him of his All Blacks 2026 campaign. And we have there up the All Blacks, says Ruth. But they are just showing that back line again. Geordie Barrett with the try assist. Just got it down in time, Will Jordan. By the looks of it anyway, we'll need to see this replay from the other angle. Just accelerates at the right time. And yeah, gets the grounding before being driven into touch. And well, able to come back, says Reno. Great pass, Geordie, says MK. And the assist for Geordie Barrett. A kick that is relatively difficult for Damian McKenzie next to the sideline. 76% accuracy off the kicking tee. It's coming round slightly, but almost didn't have the distance for Damian McKenzie, so that'll make the score now 7 points to 5 between these 2 teams. And morning, Amy says, Dennis, welcome in. And also we over there, there we go, well done, Will. Says, so incredible. And also we over there, let's go, boys, attack, 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 says another boy. Fuff de Klerk and Cobus Reinach. Really? You put in de Klerk in there. And now that he signed for the Cheetahs and didn't make an international team. Now, Roygaard. And that one towards the touchline. And just manages to stay in the field of play. Hastoy, he is out there on the field due to Max Spring having his injury. Or his HIA, he might be able to return later on, but around the halfway line for the French. Maxime Lucu. On the way to the right. Finds their hands at Staniforth. Excellent stuff, Roygaard and Lucu, definitely 2 of the elites. And who got the red card, please? No one yet. We saw Ruben Love get the yellow card in the early stages. Bit of a rough backline there for France, but it's set up nicely to the hands of Hastoy off the offload of Jalabert. Now back to the right. Another carry for Staniforth. Straight in the breakdown was Luke Jacobson. Just lost his footing, though. Gives away the penalty. Okay, really close, but I thought you were on the floor when you ripped the ball. Oh, really? Was the comment there from Luke Jacobson. He felt like he had done enough to be able to get the turnover. Are we over there loving it? Exciting games to come, says Ruth. And I also thought D-Mac got it, says Cyrus. It was close. It just didn't quite have the legs and a little bit right. Okay, yellow card's going to stay a yellow card as well. So for the next 2 minutes, New Zealand will still be playing with the 14 men who scored so far. We've seen Damien Pinot and Will Jordan as the 2 try scorers. Now looking to get this one rolling forward here for France. It's in about 15 metres out from the line. That was a bit too high from Ethan de Groot, so another penalty advantage going against New Zealand. Now Perot. Does hit it up again, still under penalty advantage. The delay there from Jalabert goes for the grubber of mine. McKenzie's done well to be able to slap that ball away, and they'll go back for the penalty. And we have got the South African 9 is the best in the world. And they both World Cup winners, says Melvin Davids. And we have there go New Zealand goes, says Stefan. Currently 11 minutes through this one. The dangerous tackle from Ethan de Groot. Penalties conceded 4 against the French, the 2 against New Zealand. Okay, Jalibert has decided the kick for the corner is also the way that the French are going to play. So both of these sides do not really want threes. And greetings, to the team. Good to see you healthy as ever, Hams. I think All Blacks should have had a pre-warm-up game, Amish. Probably, I think that all sides should get one warm-up. But they decided to take the extra week to be able to regroup, get themselves ready for this match. Jalibert grabbing it in behind out of Sogby. Can't quite force it down. Just a little bit too deep on the kick there from Jalibert. Although it seems like kicking inside of the 22 is definitely a tactic we're going to see from Les Bleus throughout this 80 minutes. That one maybe just a pass would have done. Just got a bit too much on it. And we have got the Will Doran as the AB's, or for the AB's test try scoring record. That's a knock on from Caleb Clark. I'm not actually sure what happened there. We didn't really get to see an angle of it. Seemed like New Zealand wanted to take this one quickly. So yeah, it was the 22 dropout that went very short. And then from there, just not quite the best pass from Jacobson out in front of Clark, who wasn't able to regather it. And it now means that France will have themselves the scrum feed. Jalibert again, says Floyd Kingy. And bad pass, Luke, says Mike's. Both coaches. It's been a hectic 12 and a half minutes of this contest, ladies and gents. Only the 2 points separating these sides. And Ruben Love has made his way back out onto the field. Now, what time does the game start? It started 12 and a half minutes ago. Okay, they are just... I think they mentioned about Ruben Love settling back in. It'd be a weird feeling, being on the field for 2 minutes, then going off, and then 10 minutes later going back out there, trying to find your rhythm. Zero Connection, thank you very much for your gift of membership. It is greatly appreciated. Maxime Lucu put this ball in for the French. They are currently sitting 5 meters away from the touchline. 860 kgs in their pack, and a penalty awarded to France. Lucu takes the quick tap. Both sides just do not want the game to stop. By the looks of it, another penalty awarded to the French. This one is definitely a kickable 3, although Maxime Lucu again looks towards his 10, Jalibert. And this time it is against Luke Jacobson. That one's going to be for not rolling away 2 back-to-back penalties against him. Now the shot clock, they are taking on the 3 points here, France. Best 9 by far is Gibson Park, says Ronald Edwards. And we also have great commentary, says Jason. I don't know why you feel so special using my full name. Most people know it. Been a while since I caught your channel. Hope you're well, Amish. Says Zero Connection. And also we have there Nick Roddenclaw said, hi, welcome in. Doing extremely well. Maxime Lucu, he's currently sitting 83% in terms of his accuracy. But love to tap this one over. A bit of booing coming from the crowd here. AB scored with 14 men, says Brederick, and it has gone over for Maxime Lucu, though, making the score now 10 points to 5 in favour of the French. Slightly harsh on Jacobson, but I think he's given away a couple, and the ref's watching him. Says Studs Race. Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones now. He has to be extremely careful every breakdown because the referee's going to watch him like a hawk. And that is something, you know, we normally see from Luke Pearce. He will watch those breakdowns. Everything that happens in them, he seems to spot. Now, Ruben Love kicking this one off. The All Blacks down by 5 currently. Nice take from Hastoy, who bumps off the tackle attempt, trying to step through. Another awkward tackle there, and it's another penalty this time against Quintupaia for the high shot. And now Luke Pearce bringing them over for a bit of a warning here. Okay, Luke Pearce is just saying there to Artie Savia, it's the number of needless penalties that we've seen. The All Blacks went from being 4-2 down on the penalty count to now 5-4 up. And he's allowed to work on their defence and discipline, says Brick. And also, I love 2 gladiator teams clashing, says Ruth. And there too. But yeah, it's just it was a weird tackle from Tupai. He almost got over the top of his head and then pulled him down round the side. Dave Rennie, you can see he's already having a bit of a headache there in the coaching box. He was not happy with that, but the line-out steal for New Zealand. Cam Roigard going away to Will Jordan, cross to Savia. A bit of hesitation there. Barrett passed to Tupai. Now McKenzie getting told to run it straight. Still holding strong defensively. Ruben Love delays his pass to Geordie Barrett. Those two working together all throughout the Hurricane season. Barrett went for the offload, and it doesn't work out, and now France get the ball back, kicking it in behind. Ruben Love has to clean that ball up 10 metres out from his own line. Caleb Clark across to McKenzie, change of direction. Decides that kicking down the middle of the field is the best option, but it was slightly aimless. And France now being able to run this one back. Jalibert tries to bump off McKenzie, who holds his ground. Maxime Lucu across to Staniforth. Again, it's the tempo that both of these sides are willing to play at the moment that is definitely going to make it intriguing later on in the game. Now passing it on, Mofana, beautiful hands from France, out to Damien Pinot, trying to get around Ruben Love, who hangs onto his ankle and refuses to let it go. Lemuth, tackled by Derry. France still 20 metres out from New Zealand's line. Luku passes across again. Gazzotti moves it on. Jalibert, Mofana can't quite get his pass away. Now Maxime Luku again goes across to Damien Pinot, out to Utter Sogby. Moving it efficiently from left to right. At the moment, the French, but now firing it back to Staniforth. He offloads from his back. Jalibert inside ball to Arudu. The crowd starting to get a little bit louder as well. Watching this All Black side defend. Lakai close to the turnover. Didn't quite keep his hands on the ball. Staniforth. Now across to Arudu, and it's knocked on by France. Loose ball doesn't quite bounce into the hands of Caleb Clark, and they'll go back now for the scrum feed. Bordeaux connection looking good, damn, says Reno. Yeah, 8 players in the starting lineup from Bordeaux. And honestly, the way that they're playing at the moment, the Luku, Jalibert, and Damien Pinot combo, you can kind of tell. Even someone like a Maxime Lemuth has been involved in certain moments so far. Clean breaks 4 for the French, and the tackle completion, this is a bit of a concern here. New Zealand tackling at 74%, France tackling at 90%. How are the crowd? The crowd seem loud enough. I think there's a lot of nervous anticipation at the moment for what is to come in this game. They're probably also trying to pace themselves because the players certainly aren't. They're going for the whole shebang the whole way through this one. Now we have got the good morning, how are you, best friend? Doing very well. Excited for all the international rugby that is going to be taking place because there is an absolute ton of it that is happening today. Now scrum has gone down. Luke Pearce is going to say scrum reset. And we have got there, New Zealand will click into gear and smash the Richard French, says Sonny. And never know when it's a full strength for Le Bleu, says Roger. And Dry July says, Nigel, any predictions? Oh, I think my original prediction was New Zealand by 7 on my preview. But that could, of course, all change in an instant. Cam Roygard from just inside of the 22. If ABs lose, Rennie will be under immense pressure, says Eugene. Yeah, even if the All Blacks don't win comfortably, he'll be under pressure. That seems to be the way that it does go. Damien McKenzie passes off to Will Jordan. He has already scored once in this contest. The lone try scorer for New Zealand, Cam Roygard. Now pick and go from Savia, making easy meters at the moment. New Zealand each and every breakdown, making a couple more. Roygard back across to Fletcher, now in behind Love, goes to McKenzie. Lot of space now up the middle of the field for McKenzie to run through. Goes off to Roygard, who's driven backwards in a brilliant tackle by Gazzotti that shut down the counter-attack, but now still trying to get it going. A little bit high on the tackle. On Will Jordan, quick hands from Tupai. Lakai goes out to Caleb Clark. Ball back to Lakai, who will score from the number 6 jersey. Runs it around as well. And the All Blacks get themselves their second of the match. We have the Classic Canes try, says Tainui. Although we did see a Caleb Clark involved in the Hurricanes type of try scored there. But the back line, there were a lot of players involved in that initially. That was brilliantly done from Quinn Tupai, because it easily could have been one where he decided to run it himself after the pass from Gary, but just transfers the ball quickly. And then Clark did the 1-2 with Peter Lakai and managed to finish it off. I've got, I'm not sure why the 2 wingers from the Hurricanes can't play the first half. They're the most consistent and outstanding instead of Clark. Well, Clark's just got himself a try assist. So I feel like that was possibly rough timing, but yeah, it was surprising that they didn't go with Fehi or Morby in the starting lineup, but I think that's down to the aerial game of the French. They wanted to have 2 guys who they know are safe under the high ball, which is what you get with Clark and Jordan, but that kick has gone over from Ruben Love, and that now makes the score 12 points to 10 in favour of New Zealand. And that's the best AB's passage of play so far. And also we have got there Larkai any day. Says a marker there. 1 second, we'll go like this. And too many head eyes. Says Justin. And 4 tries in 21 minutes, says Roy. And also we have got there, this is where defence comes in. Stop ball watching, says Reno. Nicely taken by the All Blacks inside of the 22 as they do take the lead for the first time now in this contest and winning a penalty as well. It is due to Jagu not rolling away. I don't think he really had many places he could have gone there. Yeah, Cheslin might kick. I think they will stick Cheslin Colby on the goal kicking again. Leave Marnie Libok to just play attack and rugby. Ruben Love from inside of the 22 kicks that one into touch. And same players, 2 newbies are not good enough. Says Leighton. And also could see the relief on the crowd's faces. Well, they'll be happy to see a try, not straight, from the All Blacks line out. Cody Taylor doesn't look too happy about it, but it was contested by the French. Interesting. That one actually looked pretty straight. That's 2 dumb Mohideen comments already. You could just leave him alone, Jason. You've had your fair share of dumb comments too. Just let him do what he does. You do what you do. You don't have to make it a situation every time. We have got there, are you trying or are they playing for a trophy in this tournament? They are, yes, the Nations Championship trophy. What will happen though is the final has to be between North and South. There's no way of having it as both 2 Southern Hemisphere or 2 Northern Hemisphere teams, if that makes sense. So no matter what, we're guaranteed 1 Six Nations side in the final. Now Maxime Luku. And that ball's gone down, or in fact, no, sorry, the front row has gone down. And that's going to be the penalty to the All Blacks at scrum time against Demba Bamba, this time up against Ethan de Groot. They won tireless or countless penalties throughout the season for the Highlanders. Ethan de Groot alongside Angus Ta'aval in the proper department, the most penalties won by any side in Super Rugby. What are your thoughts on the comp? It's an interesting one. I hope it doesn't take away from the feeling of the World Cup. It had to be Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere. Otherwise, it would be Southern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere. We're over there. Josh Morby is not even in the squad tonight. Why is that? I think it's a little bit similar to Segner, how, they've got a few guys in there, but they probably couldn't debut everyone. So I think we'll see Morby next week up against the Italians. Big run forward from Quinn Tupaia, sitting about 20 meters out from the French 22. Oh, Roygaard's had to hurdle a couple men to be able to get that ball to play it. Savia tackle 40 metres out. Roygaard again, back across to the right. Now Love moves it on to Geordie Barrett. Nice wide skip pass out to Will Jordan. Ada Sogby hangs on. Gets him down again. Roygaard cross to Derry. He's had some big moments throughout the first 25 minutes of this game. Roygaard back to Ruben Love. Now de Groot trying to bump off Jehu. Now, I'm watching here at the moment. Peter Larkai is a long way by himself on the far side of the field, although it's not going to matter as the All Blacks have just dropped the ball anyway. Now going away to the right-hand side, Demba Bamba. Goodbye, Lord. And we have the hello, everyone, says Pragati. Welcome in. Now looking to run this one, Jalabur. Can't get through Savia, though. Maxime Luku. Goes back to the left. This seems like they're just about to set up for a kick here, France, and Luku is going to do just that. As a neutral, New Zealand seem to have momentum, better side in the last 7 minutes. And I can't buy into this comp, not sure why, maybe because it's our summer, says Bleshin. You see, maybe in November when the finals and whatnot happen, it might be a bit more like towards the business end. Caleb Clark under a lot of pressure out on the wing. Now Roygaard back across to Love again. Ethan de Groot moves on to Demba Bamba. I think those two are going to be colliding quite a bit, not just in the scrums for this game too. Now kicking it in behind. Oh, big knock on from Will Jordan. Jalabur running down the wing now. He has the man with him. He just delays his pass, but somehow manages to stay in the field of play. It looked like he was going into touch for all money. Now back across again, Staniforth. And 25 metres out, Savia asking for the penalty as he felt like he was being obstructed in the breakdown. Demba Bamba. I keep going, All Blacks. No more penalties, please. Yeah, it seems like they've kind of shorted up a little bit. Oh, nice pass, though. Pinot is waiting on the outside. They couldn't get it away. Max Spring with a very flat pass as the French move to 10 metres out from the try line. Maxime Lucu goes across to Jagu. 10 metres from the line, still here for France. With a lot of players on the left. Jalabert delays his pass. Pinot going for one more. And Hastoy has to clean it up after the loose ball. 7 phases in at the moment for France. It seemed like it was a little bit maybe disconnected there. Lucu back across to Pirot. Oh, change of direction going back left. Jalabert has got Adesogbe now. Quick hands out to Max Spring, who's returned from his HIA. Now back inside of the 22 for the French. Landing hard on his face there was Gazzotti. Lucu to the short side. Another offload. Adesogbe's just done his knee. By the looks of that, I think he's going to be in a bit of discomfort out there on the wing, the youngster. I'll be very surprised if he's made his way back up to his feet already. Up to 14 phases in a row now for France. New Zealand trying to get the steal with Peter Larkai. Now still 10 metres out. It's good defence at the moment from the Kiwis. Huge shot from Geordie Barrett on Maxime Lemuth. And the follow-up in the breakdown, trying to steal the ball for New Zealand. He may have it, no, the advantage goes against him. Now passed out to Jalabert, moving it on, bit rough from France, losing metres, but a shuffling there from Love as well as Max Spring, both losing their footing as they look to accelerate. Jalabert running straight into the grouping. And ball's still gone backwards and still under penalty advantage, up to 19 in a row. Good pick and go from Aradu now. Geordie Barrett on the ball again. This time wins the turnover, but they'll go back for the penalty. Okay, Luke Bear said there that it was a good steal, but the one before he was too long on his elbows. But a big effort on defence from New Zealand. And we have, I think, bring on the subs early. We're not making headway here, says Leighton. And we have got the French making metres and line breaks, says Peter. Oh, sorry, that was Thud's race. And up says Matthew. Oh, Savia got a little bit of a cut on the eyebrow as well here. Okay, Adesogbe's back up. He's not walking very freely at the moment, Adesogbe. I'm not sure whether or not they're going to actually take him off the field. They have already had Hastoy on briefly. They got Deportier, who can also make his way on, though. Maxime Lucu lining up the 3 points. And kia ora, lovely South African Ruth. The ball as well, says Nazi there. And the machine is rolling now, says Zinzan. Maluku, normally pretty accurate off a kicking tee, just taking a little bit of extra time here to line up this one. And does strike it down the middle, so that will now make the score 13-12 back in favour of France. New Zealand, they have not led in this game for too often. But now the French have taken their lead back by currently the 1 point. And we have got their, go to the pub if you want to watch for free in New Zealand, cuz, says Luca. And sad to see them take the 3. I think it's smart. They were down by 2. Now they're back in the lead and they can continue to build up that pressure heading towards the halfway line, or heading towards the halftime break, sorry. Now Max Spring, back across to Matthew Jalabert. And that's a brilliant kick. Namia McKenzie decides to take it quickly, though. Now Ruben Love. Stepping through, tries to offload there to Josh Lord. Currently 35 metres out from the French line. Peter Larkai, he's had a good start to his 2026 campaign. Back across Quintabai. A bit of a slip there defensively from Maxime Lucu, who was caught just a little bit further back, but a brilliant tackle on Will Jordan by Lucu. Initially, his slip left a bit of a gap, but he got straight back up and sprinted across to make the next tackle. Depay, tackled by Staniforth, short ball, Geordie Barrett just held on to offload to Ethan de Groot. They're 7 metres from the line now, New Zealand. Cam Roygar looking away to the left-hand side. Josh Lord delays his pass, almost shuffles through. Now 9 minutes remaining in this first half. Lakai goes back to the Groot who's knocked it on. It looks like Bucheton, he's in a bad way too. Loose ball picked up by Josh Law, but they'll go back now for the initial knock on from the Groot. We have it there, France aren't the kryptonite. When World Cup concerned, All Blacks do France 0, says Shane. And watching a replay of the Canes girls against Auckland instead. I should have picked the Canes coaching staff, says Piri. Well, they weren't actually doing well at the time of the coaches being selected. Fun fact. Like, don't get me wrong, phenomenal season this year, but this coach, like in terms of Dave Reddy, he was selected before the Hurricanes found their stride in Super Rugby for the year. And Behave Piri says, one up my kicks. Thanks for all the rugby today. I started my day early with a slow Apotia and a Bry later on. Well, Jordan needs to develop a step. Says Freshman. And also, good day, Hamish, from Leonard in South Africa. Welcome in. We're currently 31 minutes through this contest. The French are still leading, 13 points to 12. We get closer to that halftime break. Still early days, just need to settle. Says Amy there. And also, Butterfingers says, Cyrus, what's your thoughts on the intent of the ABs or on the intent of the ABs so far, Hamish, in this game? I think that we've seen some aggression from them in terms of the options of kicking for the corner rather than going for the three. Now, of course, that was during the time when they had 14 men on the field as well. Their line-out hasn't been as clinical as they probably would have liked it to be. But I'd say there is intent there. They're just trying to find their rhythm. Why is the game stopped? They just had the waiting for the scrum. I assume someone was injured too, maybe. Because, yeah, that seemed like a long time to get a scrum back underway. And I was right. If you take the three and you slip up on the restart, as now seen, you are back on your 5 metre line. You're always right from what I've heard, Reno. But now it is going to be the scrum feed here. It's also no different to if they had scored a try, though, really. When you think about it, they still would have been in the same area and still would have made the same mistake, potentially. But that one's going to be booted into touch by the French, and it will now be the line out for New Zealand just outside of the 22. And Jordan scores more tries on the wing. Leave him there. Says Floyd Kingy. Thrown in the All Blacks to claim the line out with Josh Lord. Rough pass from Roygard, but it sits up for love now. Lakai been everywhere throughout the first little while. Now Sam Derry again. I love that, so says Reno. Now Cody Taylor, about 27 metres from the line. Geordie Barrett. Look at there, Mohadeen is the spammer, says Jason. You've written like 5 times the comments Mohadeen has, Jason. So what does that make you? Once again, get over it. Just leave him alone. It's much easier. And it will save everyone the hassle. But now, sitting there, Roygard, about 30 metres out from the line again. Geordie Barrett. Not really going forward at the moment here, the All Blacks. Ruben Love drop ball from Savia. Picked up, and that's going to be kicked downfield from Jagu. Don't know whether or not he's normally the man to do too many kicks, but he's got it to Damien McKenzie inside of the All Blacks 22. Now Will Jordan does kick that one. Not a lot of angle to work with either. Does get it out of touch to the France team. Says Zinzan. Nice, we get that consistency for the ABs finding their rhythm. Give the French baguette. And we have their French team. Says Zinzan. And we have their first game for the ABs. Why is Siri yelling at me? Did that come through the microphone? My Siri just got mad at me. I'm not sure why. Hold the ball, says Mark Payne. Oh, that's forward there. Back into the hands of Lamouth. And French D is doing a great job, unfortunately, says Studs Race. Yeah, they're holding strong. They were 90% in the early stages in terms of that percentage. You see it there, just a little bit of a set play trying to go to the front. And then just Luku returning the pass to the mouth. Boucheton's off for the HIA. He did not look good inside of the 22 just before. It seemed like he took him a little while to get back up. Guillard is out there on the field now, though. And coming the French, he says Trevor. And that man is someone who did extremely well last year. It looks like he's packing down on the back of the scrum in this case. Pretty versatile in terms of the positions that he can play. Now, for the All Blacks, they are 40 metres out from the French line, 5 metres from the near side of the field. I would say they've got a weird formation here, New Zealand. They've got Ruben Love, Will Jordan directly behind him by a couple metres, and then just to the side was Geordie Barrett. I think some sort of set piece is going to be coming here for New Zealand. Now, front row collapsing down. They're being told to use it. Now, Barrett, first receiver. Quintal Pyer goes across. Love cuts straight through, and he decides to go himself. Adesogbe making the tackle on him. Now back across. Quick hands from McKenzie to Clark. New Zealand making about 30 metres since that scrum now. Roygaard moves it on Larkai. Cross to Derry. Now Will Jordan. Oh, big drop ball, though, from Ruben Love. And the French now on the counter-attack. Adesogbe decides that the kick downfield is the better option. Looking for the 50-22, and it will bounce out about maybe 30 metres from New Zealand's try line. Now let's go, says Obi. And also not going so well against the French B team, says Rugby Guru. And also come on New Zealand, says Jordan there. But yeah, just a loose ball. The wrong moment, and the French making the most of it. Big long line out over the top. Nicely taken by Peter Larkai. Inside ball to Jordan. That is a brilliant tackle from Staniforth. Now Roygaard over the top of Taylor. And it goes into touch, but they had the penalty advantage for New Zealand. So that is one bonus, but there's frustration on the face of Cody Taylor at the moment. But the French getting done for offside. Agreement AB's finding the rhythm. The French have upset their game coming on strong. And also we got there someone bring on the sticky spray. And several drop balls in promising positions. Really poor, says HDB. 3 minutes remaining now of this first half. Still 1 point separating these two sides. Pushing past us. French defenders reading attack, says Studs Race. Yeah, this French side are playing with some, well, I was going to say some real cohesion, but it's understandable too because so many players are from that Bordeaux setup. Good morning from Germany, says Pitt. Welcome in. A rolling maul here. Cody Taylor hanging on to this one at the back. Let's make it a few metres at the moment. Now breaking away to the right-hand side. Does this come with English translation, says Parkinson? Normally about 3 hours afterwards. So if you've got some sort of patience, you'll be able to watch it and then know exactly what I'm saying. So it's a bonus. Now going to the left-hand side, Will Jordan moves it on to Damian McKenzie. Caleb Clark trying to go over the top of Jalabert and does so. Gets back up to his feet, still accelerating Clark. Now Roygaard across to Josh Lord. Now Ruben Love across to the group, pops it in behind McKenzie to Barrett, moves it on to Depay. Oh, that was a hard landing for him. And down on his elbows after having the legs swept out from underneath him. Now to Groot, big contact with Bumba again. There's a no advantage now. Barrett through the leg pass from Savia. Number 3 that is going against Demba Bumba. Now short side run again from Savia. Barrett pick and go. Pye thought about it but leaves it for Larkai. Now Sam Derry off to now Quinton Pye. Cody Taylor tries to cut back in. He was right next to the sideline. Savia 2 metres out. New Zealand, they have plenty of forwards. The group gets close. He may have knocked it on. Or he may have just got that ball down, but he looks like he's in a bad way here to Groot. Looks like he's got a cut on the forehead or on the eyebrow. It's been busted open. An awkward landing there as well. Oh yeah, that looks like a bad cut for Ethan de Groot. In fact, it's quite hard to tell where that cut actually is. I think he's got one down there and one up on the eyebrow for Ethan de Groot. You're going to see whether or not he did get the grounding. Hello, Hamish. This is Nasoni Siru and Virasila Siru from Fiji. Welcome in. We have got Fiji's game later on tonight when they do go head-to-head up against the Welsh. He's been through worse, says they go underdog. Right, we're going to see the replay now. He gets very close to the line. Larkai took some big contact. Does he get it? No, de Groot just knocking it on in the final moment. Didn't quite finish it off. And we got there watching from Sri Lanka. In fact, a couple people in a row watching from Sri Lanka as well, so greatly appreciated. Okay, Ethan Groot just went over to Luke Pearce and said, I didn't get it. He just wanted to save them a little bit of time, although he didn't say that before. They were checking it. Last 10 minutes of possession, they are sitting 96% at the moment for the All Blacks. But they have to turn it into points. The Springboks going to make ball worse with the ABs. Are you meaning like borevors, like as in like you're going to turn them into sausages? Is that what you're trying to say, Melvin? Now, kicking into touch again for Ruben Love. About 7 metres out from the try line. It's Power Bite from the UK, and I came here to tell you that I don't like Cricket Townsend. He's going to be the coach, or his side's going to be in action later on, aren't they? Against the old Argentines, but rolling maul for New Zealand isn't going forward just as of yet. France have actually defended it very nicely, but Cody Taylor breaking off the back, 2-man tackle on him. Now Roygaard with the snipe round the breakdown. He sent the French defence wide, and he finds a way through to give the All Blacks the lead at halftime. He's done brilliantly there, Cam Roygaard. 13th of his career. We have got there, the ABs need to execute the basics, says Matthew. And too easy, says Vic Mars. Yeah, brilliant run off the bat for Cody Taylor initially. The French had about 8 men, or probably actually about 6 men in that rolling maul. And then Roygaard just sent Maxime Luku the wrong way. And then Gassotti wasn't quite in position quick enough. That is the danger of Roygaard's pace next to the breakdown, getting there quickly. And now a kick straight out in front of the post. And interestingly enough, Ruben Love, the man lining up this kick. And it has gone over, making the score now at half-time. 19 points to 13 in favour of the All Blacks. Hi from France. Joseph, welcome in. We got a lot of New Zealand covered. We've got a lot of the world covered by the looks of it for this one. I watched from Korea as well. Best rugby commentary I've listened to, says Jenny. Thank you very much. And we have got plenty more coming up today. We have got the next matchup, Ireland versus Australia. Then from there, we're on to Fiji versus Wales. Then South Africa versus England. And then Argentina versus Scotland. So a fair old amount. We have got the Jenny says Obi. And also a great play, Roygaard, Pillars and Posts. I'm watching the game, but rather listen to you than Mr. Bumfer, says Warren Spray. Halftime in this matchup, 19-13. Currently in favour of New Zealand. That's probably, I would say they've done quite well to be leading at halftime, New Zealand. Don't get me wrong, they had a lot of possession throughout the last 10 minutes of their half, but France have been doing extremely well at times throughout this first 40, making it relatively difficult to be able to get something on. That was smooth from Roygaard, who scored, says Hamish, says Fortnite. So far for New Zealand, we've seen Cam Roygaard, Peter Larkai, and also Will Jordan. And then for the French, we have seen the try from Damien Pinot. And then outside of that, they have taken 2 3-pointers. And great to join in from Fiji. Nice first half. Will be a good game. And as always, pleasure to watch your channel, bro. Says, Luca, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've still got plenty more coming up in the near future. We are close to 82,000 on the channel as well. We are currently sitting only the 500 away. So, yeah, if you haven't, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Great commentary. Really enjoying this from Papua New Guinea. Says Bob O'Hearn there. And yeah, agreed. If France could stay within 7 till the end of the game, it'll be a very difficult one. And 3 cheers for the ABs from Vietnam, says Ian. Hamish, the man that doesn't age. Keep up the good commentary up the All Blacks. I think I've aged quite a bit in the last couple years. But we're still going. I realised the other day that we've been going since about 2020. So it's been a decent old shift. And we have got Wise Cheslin kicking. He kicked very well for his side in the Japanese top league all season. And Marnie Libok's kicking accuracy isn't too great. So that's why they've gone for that option. This backline has been round for years. Says a Leighton there. Otherwise, the line breaks a concern. Otherwise, a positive half. France need to keep the ball away from the All Blacks should they want to win. That's a great commentary from South Africa, says Reno. And hey, Hamish says, Jaden, welcome in. And I from Zimbabwe, love your commentary. Hope you cover one of our games in the future. We actually covered the Zimbabwe versus South Africa A matchup. And I'm undecided at the moment because, of course, before that game, we're going to have about 10 extra hours of commentary from now. But I'm considering Tonga, Zimbabwe. But I haven't decided yet. But we are covering the games of the World Cup, every single one of them. So we will be doing the Zimbabwean Sables games in that regard. Watching from Arizona. Arizona. Says Quiet Stormtrooper. Any wedding bells in the area for you? If there are wedding bells, they're certainly not mine. It would only be that I'm going to a wedding because I'm dressed like I'm going to one. And also, is France playing with a C team again? No. I'd say it's a developmental French team. I think that we've seen from last year as well that it's very hard to underestimate this French side. They only lost the first test up against New Zealand by 4 points last season. And again, that was one where we heard nothing but about how the French, they chose a disrespectful team to take on New Zealand, but they almost beat them. So, this is the same boat. If New Zealand are not careful, France come out firing second half, this scoreline could look very different. So it's all well and good saying that they're missing some of their key players, but you still got to beat them. I think that is definitely what New Zealand's target will be in the second half. Start quick. Thanks for the comms. Nice work, says later. No worries at all. I love not going too well. Maybe D-Mac there. Jordan at fullback. Kane's winger. What's your take on the team selection of the All Blacks? The style of play under Dave Rennie this far in the match. Thanks for the coverage. It seems quite aggressive in terms of the way that they have been attacking in this game. They've gone for the corner a couple times. They've tried to keep the tempo high. Now, both sides have been doing just that. And I do think that in the later stages of this game, we're going to see what kind of impact that has actually had on both of these sides. But I feel like there are positives. That try that we scored or saw scored by Peter Larkai, that's one that if they can do a bit more of that, they'll be in a good situation heading forward. And this July, it's all about just trialing things, working out what works, what doesn't. We have there, love is fine, says Phil Gardner. And keep me watching from Thailand. And also, Tawai would have been perfect for this game, says Zinzan. And also, not going to lie, I didn't. And don't take the French team disrespectful. Wait, where'd that go? If Dupont and others missing were here, it would be the same margin, says Yo Underdog. Well, that's the thing. Like Maxime Lucu, again, people straight away go, oh, there's no Dupont, so it's not France's strongest team. But Maxime Lucu, depending on who you talk to, and again, it's a big depending, but Maxime Lucu's been phenomenal for the past probably 3, if not longer years. There were times where Maxime Lucu was stepping up while Dupont was injured and doing just as well, if not at times better. So, he's not that much of a hit, I don't think, in terms of having him in the starting lineup. In fact, I think based off form, you'd chuck him in every day of the week. We have got, tell you what, I just skipped forward. There's like 20... No, probably more than 20, probably 50 that I've just seen. Someone said they're leaving Botswana en route to Ellis Park, so hopefully you do have safe travels. And that try before the half is vintage All Blacks, says Sash. And also we have got there the Mark Goldbridge of Rugby, extremely underrated channel. Get the super chats going, gents, for all the entertainment being provided, says HDB. Thank you very much, greatly appreciated once again for your generosity. But yeah, we've got plenty more coming up today. I hope that I have a voice by the end of it. You appear to blink a lot. Is it a nervous thing, says Jason? No, it's just a blinking because I'm looking at bright lights. So if I keep my eyes open for too long, they probably get bloodshot a lot quicker. So that's the gist of it. All that's playing poo-poo, says Isaac there. And counter-attacking coming back, baby, says Jay. Yeah, well, they've taken the lead at this point in time. Still 40 minutes remaining. What we're going to quickly do. These are the upcoming matches for these two sides in the July internationals. New Zealand next week will be taking on the Italians. For the French, they have got the Australians. And that is the 7:40 p.m. kickoff. New Zealand versus Italy is actually early on Saturday next week. So that one can be a little bit confusing due to all the other games being at 7:10 for the Kiwis, including that game at Eden Park. That will be up against the Irish. It will certainly be a must-see game when it does take place. For the French, they also have Japan as their last game. Ideally, I think for France, if they can win 2 out of their 3, they'd be pretty happy. Of course, 3 out of 3 would be absolutely massive. But, yeah, I think 2 out of 3 would be pretty solid. Good morning, Mr. Hamish from Durban. Evening. Your side, look as smart, says Brian. And also we were then Karefi should be captain, bro, straight up. Says Cyrus and Rugby Live not going well, predicting Kiwis. I say everything's an Irish, all with issues at fly half today. Says Power Bite. And All Blacks looking bad, but still winning. That's good enough for me, says Kiwi Graggle. And McKenzie is something else at international level. Yeah, he's had a solid game so far, Damien McKenzie. Some very good moments. And the thing is, they've got so many, I guess you could argue they've got so much versatility in the back line. It's very hard at times to actually tell where certain guys are playing in terms of defence and attack. But McKenzie, he's been at the 10 role at times. He's been playing as about a third receiver at times, sitting a little bit deeper than the back line, and then also being at the back when needed. De Groot, Tapai, and Derry don't convince me. Interesting. See, I thought Derry's had a pretty solid half. He had some really nice carries throughout the early stages. I think that the line-out was always going to be a little bit shakier when you take 3 different Super Rugby side players and chuck them all together up against what is a pretty handy French outfit. But I thought Derry had some really good moments in terms of clean-outs in the breakdown, in terms of doing the little things right. And then Josh Lord kind of did a bit of the same and then added a bit more flair on it. As we're watching you with a cup of coffee, it's a long day of rugby, and if I start on the lagers, I'll be a mess before the bot game, says Robert. And Derry has been great, says Mega Dollop. And also we've got the Jacobson bad, says Riss. And not getting the Jacobson at 7, if I'm honest, too, says Kiwi Rail. Yeah, he's probably been it sounds harsh to say, but probably the poorest out of the forwards. Luke Jacobson, he was on the verge of getting a couple penalties, but then got penalised for both, which doesn't really help him too much. They're just showing there Jalibert having the most offloads out of any player out there on the field. The French also having the second most offloads in terms of a player. Top tacklers, Gazzotti as well as Staniforth, but Fletcher Null working away for the Kiwis. And we over there, great having D-Mac in, especially when Love is off at 10. Nice work, says Nathan, and also love the quick hand, short passes in the close quarters. D-Mac a master exponent of his skill. But the All Blacks, currently Cody Taylor's on the exercycle. He's just having a little bit of a session at half-time. But New Zealand, it seems like at the moment there is a big concentration. Will Jordan having a long chat with Dave Rennie. So you think that was probably something along the lines of tactics for the second half. What aimless kicking? They have run practically everything, says Rory. And Derry and Hannah, both skinny boys. They need to go to KFC with George to gain some quality mass. And how far away is Fabian Holland from coming back? I think he's still a couple months away. I'd assume that he's getting closer, though, as it was just before the Super Rugby season that he got injured. So you'd say February. I'd say he's probably, a couple months or so, somewhere around there. Mofana has been doing well to keep Geordie Barrett quiet. Yeah, Mofana's had a solid game. And we haven't said his name that much, but he's done a lot of things right. It sounds to me like Rennie took a leaf out of Rassi's book, running the French ragged. Says LB, I think it's a tactic we've seen a lot of sides try and do. We saw it in the Six Nations quite a bit as well. But when you've got a young French side in front of you, you do want to try and wear them down. Plus, there's a roof on the stadium, so, you're going to see that a little bit more in terms of the fast tempo. And go to New Zealand from South Africa, says Martin. And the French tired. The ABs will run away with it, says the other side. New Zealand isn't bad. It's just unprepared because they had no time to prepare, unlike other teams. Give them time. They're playing better than Razor's stuff, says Iggy. And Kelda, great channel and commentary, says Electra. Thank you very much. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to the 82,000. Only sitting around 450 away now. So if you want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Free to do. And also you will get notified when we have got streams coming up in the future. We are here for all of July. We're here for the greatest rivalry tour. The Bleus Cup later on. And Super Rugby, URC, Six Nations, the whole lot. Bit of sevens too. We have got there. The French team is young. I don't think they will fade like the other team, says Sash. Your brilliant commentator indeed, says Iron Lion. Thank you very much. And hi from a sunny Johannesburg, says Martin. Not an AB's fan, but for 10 days training, they're doing good, says LB. I wasn't subscribed and I love this channel, says Mega Dollop. Hopefully you're subscribed now and you will get those notifications. We got the predictions throughout the week as well. What's the score? Score's 19-13. Currently in favour of New Zealand. We've seen the tries scored by Cam Roygaard, Peter Larkai and Will Jordan. And then for the French, we've seen the lone try of Damien Penaud. And then outside of that, just a couple 3-pointers taken as well. To put them 6 points down heading into the second 40. Cody Taylor's going well. Says Studs Race. And also whoever their French will tie most of them. Don't play this many minutes in their comp. Good morning from Ireland. I want to start to this comp cracking game. And yeah, we've got that Irish test up against the Australians just around the corner too. That one's going to be, I'm hoping, one of the closer games of the weekend. I would say. Lucas Casey, held in Flanders. I have to be in the All Black squad for the South African tour, says Driss. That's the only compliment ABs will get from me, by the way. I know. I've seen you commenting for quite a few months about things about them that you don't like. Very good commentary, says Iggy. And how did the All Blacks do first half? They didn't do too badly. I feel like there was a bit of rust there. First game since November. So you're always going to have a couple little hurdles. First game under Dave Rennie. So tactically, you're always going to have a few things slightly different as well. But I'd say it wasn't awful. I think that there were some positives that they can take out of that. Their discipline got better as the half wore on, which I think is also a massive bonus. One moment, I'm about to sneeze, so I'll very quickly mute and hide for a second. We are good. And we over there, love looking the good, says Jay. And also Japan versus Italy just around the corner. Yeah, that game's starting in about 30 minutes time, isn't it? And didn't enjoy the game management, says HDB. And pretty good performance by the All Blacks. They haven't played much time together. And discipline can't be, again, a problem, says Riss. Yeah, well, it started off where they got the warning from Luke Pearce 15 minutes into the half. And that was pretty much when they were told, sort it out or someone's probably going to the bin. And the thing is that someone's going to the bin again because at that stage, Ruben Love had already received the yellow card for the high shot earlier. But from there, their discipline seemed to get stronger. There weren't as many times where they were giving away silly penalties. James Gibbs-Park and Cam Roigard are the best nines, says Jaden. Prediction for Italy versus Japan. I think the Italians might get there, but Japan have a very decent looking starting lineup. Time left, says Martin. We've still got another probably about 3 or 4 minutes before the second half does get underway. And Love and Roigard looking very good. Yeah, it is a combination that New Zealand can certainly look towards in the future. Although I also do think that McKenzie has done nicely from 15. So if he's going to be the backup 10 option, then I don't think that would be terrible either. I'm curious to see what reshuffle happens, though, when Ratama makes his way on. Whether or not we see them go a little bit more in the direction of a Ratama McKenzie 9-10, or whether maybe Ruben Love, does he drop to fullback, or you just leave him in that number 10 jersey? But it's kicked off now for the second half, ladies and gentlemen. We're back underway. Oh, that was a weird moment there. Penalty awarded to the French. Artie Savia looked like he tackled Gilliard, who didn't even have the ball. So that's probably a pretty easy one for Luke Pearce to be able to give away. And we have there, who's this new fly half? It is Ruben Love. So he has been playing number 10 for the Hurricanes throughout the season. Last year, got a couple very brief opportunities for New Zealand. His debut for the Kiwis, he actually started on the wing and scored 2 tries in that match. And we have got there, how many yellow cards before a red card? Well, hopefully nothing serious enough that we see a red card given in this game. Nice offload from France. Adesogbe a long way off the wing. Maxime Luku goes across to Demba Bamba. Missed tackle low from Taylor, but Null finishes it off. The two Crusaders in the front row for this contest. Now moving away to the left-hand side. Hastoy moves it on to Max Spring. Goes for the grubber on the inside. Well controlled by Ruben Love, who looks to run it back up to the 22. Derry in the breakdown, trying to protect the ball, but 4 Frenchmen all getting in. But he did just enough, Derry, to delay it so that Larkai could then take the possession. And we have got there, impossible for England to win South Africa, says Martin. Well, they haven't played there since 2018, although the most recent game that they played in South Africa, they actually won. Fun fact, they did lose the series 2-1, but yeah, they did actually beat the South Africans, their most recent fixture in South Africa. Geordie Barrett with a nice kick from the 22. Some good meterage downfield. France will now have the line out about 42 metres out. We do see Hastoy is on the field for Damien Penaud as well. I was wondering how he made his way on or who he made his way on for. I don't know whether or not that is injury-based or strategy-based. Now, overthrown there from France. Nicely taken by Taylor. The All Blacks get themselves possession in a good part of the field. Roygaard across to Jacobson. 42 minutes through this contest. Geordie Barrett going for the kick in behind, trying to put a bit of depth on it. It's gone into the in-goal area. And Sogby just ran it dead, so they will go back for the goal line dropout. And Billabro says, foot there, welcome in. Now, Jalibert. He's had a good control of this game from that number 10 jersey. Hopefully D-Mac has a good game. He's like New Zealand's Lebok. The supporters give him a hard time until he does something brilliant. So he's had a solid first 40, Damien McKenzie. And speaking of, I think he'll be getting this ball very shortly as New Zealand look to fire it away to the left-hand side. To the right, Ruben Love. Now moves it on to Geordie Barrett. Now the step from McKenzie. He's just dropped the ball. Okay, that was a bit of the commentator's curse there, unfortunately. Good game all and keep hydrated, Hamish. Long day still. Got to run. Says Reno, so we might see you later on then. And also up the AB's greatest team ever, says Warren Spray. McKenzie just in the contact. As that ball ripped out of his hands. And we have their six business. 90 minutes or something, says Cyrus, and go the All Blacks, says Alex. Just showing the bench that the All Blacks have put together here. We see three debutants potentially getting their chance here. Xavier Numia, Jamie Hanno was the late inclusion due to the injury of Tui Piloto, and then Fihi Frianofo. And D-Mac's too short for the high ball, says Xander. Maxime Luku. This ball into the scrum. We've seen quite a few collapse scrums throughout the first half, although that one holds strong. Jalibert pops it off to Mofana. Now pick and go from Mofana again. Gets through Lord. Next made tackle from De Groot. Guillard. The pick and go again. Staniforth. I think he's been one of the standouts from the fullback of the French so far. Jalibert passes it on again to Hastoy. What is the score currently? 19-13 in favour of New Zealand. Staniforth. And for the steal again, De Groot, and manages to win the penalty due to France leaving their feet. I'll be disappointed with that one. Demba Bamba just going straight in. And they have decided to take it quickly here in New Zealand. Peter Larkai. Now Roygaard. Across to Sam Derry. Looked a little bit high from Staniforth, but he was dropping down, says Luke Pearce. Now Ruben Love change of direction, but beautifully read by the French winger. In fact, I think that was Max Spring. You can see him in the background as well. He saw that Love was looking towards that space, so instead just sprinted backwards and managed to cut it off, but it's given the possession straight back to the French. Look to go for this counter-attack. Jacobson outpaced by Hastoy initially, but then got him round the bootlaces. Bit of a counter-ruck there from Fletcher. No, couldn't quite get the Steel Luku shapes for the kick now. It's gone high. Ruben Love, a little bit of miscommunication there, but Will Jordan's taken it nicely in New Zealand, keeping the ball on their side, 22 metres out from their own line. McKenzie looking for the cross kick. Caleb Clark taken off and just bouncing awkwardly. The ball stays in the field of play. Sogby now going away. This is a chance for France to be able to hit on the counter. Now short side, Jalibert bumps off one, looks for his offload. It's loose this time. Sogby jumps onto it. He's him and Ruben Love had a bit of a foot race. Now Guillard up to the 22-metre line. De Groot's been a tackler machine throughout this game. His face looks all mashed up from the shot earlier on. But he's still going strong. Maxime Luku trying to win the penalty for not rolling away against New Zealand. But referee says play on. Guillard again with the carry. Luku goes to Jalibert. Delayed pass. Nice hands. Sogby fires it on the inside. Hastoy is ready for the pass. And he scores the try that gives France the chance to go back into the lead here early in the second 40. A nice try, but Love kicked it away. Says Cool Coyote, he certainly did. And that was down to the work of Max Spring. I mentioned about it at the time, how Love saw space, and by the time that he went to go for the kick, already Max Spring had probably covered about 30 metres to get back there. And insanely dumb rugby from New Zealand gave that opportunity to the French. And we also got to remember, it wasn't just Love who kicked it away. McKenzie went for a cross kick that then bounced back infield. Sogby claimed it, And then from there, this is where that try happened. So actually both guys who were in the running for the 10 making their mistakes and costing New Zealand the try there. Missed the kick. And great try, says my name. Yeah, there I go on, France. I don't like cricket. Townsend says power bite. Maxim Luku now with the kick. 4 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Does get the kick over. France back in the lead now. 20 points to 19. I love, bro. Different game at international. And we have got their kick's not working. Says Mashihu there. But Hastoy. Ball on the inside to him. It didn't look like it was going to be too easy to be able to find the hands, but made it look simple. Now kicked off by New Zealand again. 48 minutes through this contest. France doing well. France doing extremely well. I see that Demba Bamba has made his way off. We're starting to see some changes made in terms of that French 4-pack. All Blacks have a penalty on halfway. Tapped it. And I went worse from there. Says Studs Race. Ball's not backwards. Good hustle from Roygaard. So back to Damien McKenzie. Pressure in the breakdown again from France. And we're getting close enough to the end of this game now that this young French side, they believe they can get this job done. And when Dave makes the interchange, hope he puts on Fehi. Take off Damien, move him to move Will to fullback. Says Michael. You have to see the replays to understand just how amazing that try was. Says down south. Sam Gary trying to avoid the big French Lucia prop. Took a big shot on the ground. McKenzie pops it up to the Groot. We guard again round the halfway line. Short ball. New Zealand looking to try and get some front foot going forward. Maybe that is where you need someone like an Asafo more to make his way off of the bench. Jacobson now trying to bump through. 40 metres out, slowly gaining the metres now. Good run from Clark to make an extra couple. Roygaard across to Tupai, out to Geordie Barrett in the wide channel. Beautiful offload on the inside from Barrett to Roygaard, who scores his double. And New Zealand now take the lead back. But some brilliance from Barrett. How many tries has Geordie Barrett been involved in throughout this contest for New Zealand? He was involved in the first initial break down the wing from Will Jordan. Think he didn't get to be involved in the Larkai try. But that pass on the inside, lured in 2 defenders, flicked it out the back door, and saw Roygaard there, who can run it in unscathed. And also this game was not good for my heart, says Jasmine Weldon, New Zealand. A good manipulation there. I made it forwards, very backs on the blind side. Damn it, that's another compliment. Says LB. And good advertisement for the return of international rugby, and it's certainly a return and a half. We've got so many games on today. This is the first of about 5. We've still got 30 minutes remaining in this one, but Ruben Love slots it straight down the middle. And is now going to make the score in favour of the All Blacks once again, 26 points to 20. New Zealand definitely more attacking minded already in 2026. I'm not sure this is New Zealand's first squad either. Says Kiwi Graggle. And also, he's got like better aspects to his game than Smith, maybe. Not as good a pass, I don't think, but he's there. Kicked off by France again. Just doing some maths. We're going to get potentially both of these sides 30 plus points, maybe even closer to 40. Because we've got to remember, as this game wears on, there's going to be more fatigued players and there's going to be more gaps for the sides to be able to run through. Roygaard just tapping that one into touch off his left. Didn't get a huge amount of distance on it, so it now gives France another counter-attacking chance. We have got the All Blacks, says Krishan. Very interesting bench for the box. Speed, power, skill hybrid players, says Gavin. Geordie's game is elevated since returning from the Northern Hemisphere. Now nicely taken again. Now Gia across to Moafana. Adi Savia, he's currently doing a bit of a headstand in the breakdown. And it's just a pull out of it, though, so that he doesn't get penalised. A Groot making another smashing tackle. Times he's just put his body there for the players to run over the top of, but it's been effective from the Groot. He's in that one too. Now back to the right, Lemuth. Now pick and go again. Geordie Barrett. French slowly gaining some metres. Nice pass. Jalabert goes to Hastoy, broken through. The tackle attempt to McKenzie. Now 5 metres out from the line. Now Guillard driven backwards again. Peter Larkai right in there. I'm going to look for that still. Max Spring. Currently up to 9 phases in a row for Les Bleus. Savia getting in the breakdown, couldn't hang on to the ball. Luku goes across to Lemuth. Another tackle by De Groot. Luku moves it on to Jalabert. Now backline movement, looks like it's the choice that they want to make. Big driving tackle from Will Jordan. Now Jehu. Savia trying for the steal again, and it's going to be the penalty against New Zealand. France thought about taking it quickly. Need to starve the French in possession. Their attack is devastating. And Astoy is completely underrated. Oh, cross kick attempted here from France. Oh, the ball's dropped though. Couldn't quite bring it in for Fabien Braubery. But it was almost extremely effective. They decided to take the quick tap. The cross kick from Jalabert was good and he just couldn't quite bring it in to be able to finish it off. And also we have got there tight game, anything can happen at the 70th minute, says Peter. And also close says my name. Looks like some changes are about to be made for New Zealand. Xavier Numia, All Black number 1,233, gets himself his All Blacks debut. He's partnered with Tyrell Lomax, and who he does often play with at the Hurricanes, although more throughout the season we saw Pasilio Tossi and Xavier Numia as the combination. And trying a money cross kick, says Michael. Although it wasn't that far across. It was only like a little chip in behind per se from Jalabert. And it actually worked up until his teammate couldn't hang on to the ball. Now kick downfield from New Zealand. And now Jalabert decides to go for the up and under. Satiti put on the field. That is for Larkai. A knock on from Ruben Love. Ball bounces back onto the side of France again. Now Jalabert, he sees a gap. He wasn't quite able to get through the next one. Now the chance to run up the middle of the field. He makes up for his mistake there. And Fabien Braubery does score and gets France probably back into the lead again here. How many lead changes have we had in this contest so far? The second of his career. Maybe they bring Wallace on. He's already on. He's been on for about 30 seconds. You got to see that one firsthand of the French being able to go through and score themselves the try. In fact, yeah, it was just passed backwards. And some nice stepping to get round Damian McKenzie at the back. And we have got there, what a try, says Fleshin. And Ruben Love says, hey, no, and also no love lost with the ball. And go France B. Sounds like they want to check this one in the breakdown. A knock on by the French, says Studs Rates. The most recent angle that I saw looked like it was pushed backwards. Yep, try stands, they have found it. Said that it's gone backwards too. And good morning, Amish. How you doing today? Kind regards from Sean Watson there. Oh, actually, the initial one was off spring rather than in that breakdown. So they might have to have a little look at this one. In fact, they are going to do so. Yeah, see, I thought they were thinking about that breakdown one. But before that, it was the knock on from spring into the hand of of Ruben Love. There you go, New Zealand from South Africa, says Martin. Right, so Max Spring goes up. They're saying here it looks like it's come off the white hand of Max Spring. And then hits Ruben Love in the face. I chose the game. Sadly, if I showed any match footage or audio, I get taken straight off YouTube straight away. Are you predicting AB's win? Amish says, Norfolk, I did. I predicted All Blacks by 7. They're currently winning by 6. But they've got a lot of work to do. I shouldn't require the ref watching the big screen, says Studs Rays. Who knock on, says Jasmine. And of course, it's a knock on. Well, it was. But, yeah. The All Blacks will be very happy with that call. Why are they not on advantage? For the knock on or what? I thank you, video guy, for replying or replaying the knock on until the ref saw it, says Nutter Boy. There's a reason they call it home field advantage. You see every side doing it too. Now, you got to find that angle. You show it on the big screen, the crowd will go boo, and then they look at it. We've seen it used in many countries before. We have there, thank you, says Cyrus. Come on, the All Blacks from a Bok fan, and also we have the ref is an idiot. No chance for players to compete against the ball at the breakdown, says Mucka Mucka. And also, I'm so happy, says Michael, and man of the match so far, says Darnie. I'd say man of the match for me was... I'd either go Jalibert if you're looking at the French. Tom Staniforth has also had a very solid game. If you're looking at New Zealand, you probably go Roygaard because of his 2 tries, but I also do think that Peter Larkai had a solid showing throughout that first half. Ball about to be fed in again now for the All Blacks. 15 metres out from their own line with the scrum told to use it. Now Quinn Tupai trying to step through Maxime Luku. Now short ball to Wallace. Satiti returning from his seizure. Hoping to avoid any sort of big knocks for quite some time. Xavier Numia for his first carry since getting to put on that All Blacks kit. Carried inside of the 22, so Roygaard will go for height rather than towards the touchline. And a nice claim there from Maxime Luku under the high ball. Geordie Barrett trying to fight for it with the tight head prop. Still on the side of Les Bleus, Maxime Luku going to the short side now. Derry trying for the turnover. It was almost going to be the penalty against Josh Lord. Now Luku again, back to Guillard. Tackle made by Xavier Numia. Man bet 20 plus defenders throughout Super Rugby Pacific, so when he gets ball in hand, he can be dangerous, but makes a good tackle as well. Now Savia looking for the steal. He's managed to get it this time, and he's ripped it onto the side of the All Blacks. France looking to take it straight back in the next breakdown. Ruben Love will go downfield with this kick again, looking for the height rather than the distance. That was claimed just inside of their own half, France, as they will kick it downfield with Histoire. Now Will Jordan to Damian McKenzie, runs it up to 40 metres out, tackled by Guillard. Lemoth a little bit slow getting back up to his feet. I think that we're probably going to see him subbed within the next 5 minutes or so. Wallace Atiti with a pass on the outside to Savia again. New Zealand still situated about 40 metres out from their line. Tyrell Lomax for his first carry. He's had the ball ripped off him. And now France back in possession of the ball. Maxime Luku away now to the left-hand side. Bit of a rough pass, but it is still going to link up nicely out into the wide channel for Histoire. A little bit high from Barrett. Maxime Luku protects the ball in the breakdown. Reda Wardi has made his way on now. Nice hands from the French forwards. Opens up a massive gap on the outside for Ara Sogbe to run it into the corner. Oh, or does he? I think they may just check this because it almost looked like he was too casual in the put down and may have slid his foot over the touchline. But Ara Sogbe, 11 tries for him now in his career. And it was the backs who were waiting for that ball after about 5 passes in a row from forwards. Oh, does his foot go on the touchline there? They may just want to see this grounding. What is going on with the left-hand side? French all over them that side. We're going to see it now. Oh, no, he gets it down just in time. And Chuffa Geordie, everyone dissed him. Says Roger there. And get Love off. Says Shane, and also go France B. Says MK in close game. And now Maxime Luku. Close to the sideline currently, the way that it sits. 25 points to 26. Looking for good time. Says Jason. You're being weird, Jason. We have got their last quarter are going to be frantic as hell. Says Dunk. We have got there, who is it? I predicted a 1-point thriller. Who was it right at the start? Someone did say 1 point. It's separating these two sides. I think it might have been Thud's raise, was it? An easy try, says Michael Gray. Yeah, just a classic backline movement, wasn't it? And can someone tell me why Roygaard keeps box kicking, giving them the ball 30 metres out, says Jay. And All Blacks disrespecting France here. Tactics gone out the window, says Thud's race. Yeah, now 25-26. That kick missed from Luku. Clark trying to retain the ball, but has knocked it on. It's being competitive with the aerial challenge. 11 Jacobson experiment has failed, says Sonny. Maybe need to slow this down, says Gavin. Now 20 minutes. Now remaining on the clock. Nice take from Barrett. Offloads on the inside to Jacobson. But it's ruled as the knock on. Hello, Hamish, says Kevin there. And Mackenzie found wanting in defence yet again, says Richard. He's had a few one-on-ones that he hasn't quite had the better of. Unfortunately for Damien McKenzie. I was watching this at Foundy Bar and the damn kids ruined it. Says Edge. Who's Satiti replaced. He's on for Peter Larkai. Safwa Moy has also now just made his way onto the field for New Zealand. 19 minutes remain. So Xavier Numia, Safwa Moa, Tyrell Lomax, Satiti, Billy Proctor now on the field for Quinn Tupaia. I believe that just means Fehi Whirianofo, Cortez Ratama, and would be Jamie Hanna. The last three to make their way onto the field for New Zealand. The bench on says Cool Coyote. I do see that's the Sam Derry and Josh Lord combination is staying for now in the locks. And either dropping the ball or kick away the ball for the French to attack again, says Makamaka. Yeah, I think everyone's worked out at this stage. The French are not a side that you want to have counter-attacking up against you. But that doesn't mean that they're not still giving them the counter-attack chance here, New Zealand. Now the big scrum. Maxime Luku, nice inside ball out of Sogby. Did score the most recent try. France looking to just keep this front foot going for great run from Mako Gazzotti. Moves up to the halfway line, although Luku is now going to go for a kick in behind. New Zealand will be under a little bit of pressure. Jumping up for this one was Clark who claims it. And gets it back onto the side of New Zealand. We have got there, the remaining subs not good for closing except Fehi, says Eugene. Although, to be fair, we don't really know what Hannah's like as a closer for the All Blacks, that is, because it is going to be his debut. Oh, drop ball there from France. The knock on from Jalibert inside of their 22 off the rough pass. And it now means that New Zealand have an attacking scrum. I can tell you right now, they're probably going to need a converted try in the near future. Are you streaming the Australian game? We certainly are. We are going to be live for that one up against the Irish. That one kicking off in around an hour and 30 minutes time. I don't get why Larkai's off. Yeah, I have no idea because I thought he was doing extremely well. What I would have done is if you had to bring Satiti on, I would have moved Larkai to 7 and put Satiti as the 6. So unless maybe there was some sort of injury, unless, and we've seen this before for some All Blacks coaches, unless there's premeditation about when they're making the subs, no matter what happens tactically. Good pressure from Proctor, says Mike. And also Leinster versus Australia, says Gavin. It looks like now Massa will make his way on. That is for Maxilmuth. I was looking pretty fatigued earlier on, about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Now we have you there, great work, moderators, for these spammers trying to steal viewers to their dodgy sites. Yeah, they're normally pretty efficient. I don't even know if it's actually a person who does it now in terms of like the spamming. I think it's all automated, but yeah, we try and get rid of them as quickly as possible. Take Jacobson out instead of Larkai, says J. Rome. And too many close games by New Zealand at home, says Sean. Now New Zealand 20 metres out from the line. Clark is useless, so he did all right under the high ball just then. Had a try assist today as well. But Roygaard, short side. Oh, one-on-one, couldn't quite get around Max Spring. Joining that breakdown with Savia. Keep it on their side. Satiti looking short side. New Zealand just trying to get this one set so that they can fire it away to the left-hand side. Cam Roigard moving it on again to Tyrell Lomax. Xavier Numia now. You get that feeling like they're about to fire this one out wide to the left, but for now, New Zealand continuing to persist with the short side. Will Jordan looking to steal this one in the breakdown. And in fact, leaves it alone for Billy Proctor's pick and go. Big collisions. Next to the breakdown from France, Xavier Numia. Now, they're still waiting for that time to shift it. Sam Derry driven backwards in the two-man tackle. Roigard moves across to Satiti. Jacobson couldn't quite get the offload away. And the ball illegally stolen there from Marco Gazzotti, never on his feet, and gives away relatively cynical penalty from the youngster, but it does stop the All Blacks attack for now, and now they have the big decision. Do you go for the 3 points? They're very easily accessible. There's time left, and they are going to take the 3, New Zealand. Like I said, Gazzotti probably a relatively cynical one there, but if you look at the situation and you decide, would you rather concede the try or the 3, they'd probably be okay with that. And we have got there, I can say hi to my friend. Her name is Cyan. Shout out to you, Cyan. And we have got there, good decision, says HDB in close to a yellow there. And go for the try, says Hobbit. Well, they are taking on the 3. 3 from 3 currently for Love, so he will move to 4 from 4 with this one being straight out in front of the post, unless something very drastic happens. And go for the try. Don't just settle for the 3. Full name, says Robert. I don't think many people that I know of have the name Cyan, though. So I feel like that's a good shout-out, isn't it? We have got there, that's an All Blacks special. The French did. They gave up the 3 to save the 5 and take the 3 points, and they certainly have 25 points for the French, 29 for the New Zealanders. Oh, that one was almost taken by Max Spring. In fact, somehow, I know they have ruled it as a knock-on. I was about to say, somehow he's some way managed to regather that on his way down. No good decision. Says Michael there. And plan of the attack and plan to hard defence, All Black smash. And we have you there in the modern game. Should never take the 3 in this kind of game. I'll come back to bite them like Wales twice last year, says Gavin. Yeah, although the Welsh are probably a bit of an exception sometimes to that rule, I would say, because at times they did really struggle to get an attack going. I don't mind the 3 points when it's that straight out in front. In fact, I think that having a 4-point lead here could be crucial because we know how strong France could be in the final moments to get, the tap over 3. We have got there, the time is down the bottom of the screen under the score. Yeah, so currently we've got another 12 minutes remaining. Now Cam Roigard on up, wheeling around a little bit that scrum, so they are going to have another reset. And one more try for the All Blacks. Could do some damage to French mentality, get out of the single try range. Come on, the All Blacks. Just talking about controlling the pressure and the collision. Currently, we are in the first match of this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. There is going to be Australia versus Ireland just around the corner. That one's kicking off in around an hour and a half. But we are going to be starting that one slightly earlier. And then from there, we've got Fiji versus Wales. We've got South Africa versus England. And then after that one, there is also going to be Argentina versus Scotland. But now, free kick awarded to New Zealand, 25 metres out from the line. And up the All Blacks is Hemi there. And it looks like New Zealand aren't going to go for a quick tap here. They're just going to send this one as far downfield as they can. If it's a tight game, you must take the 3 to maintain the lead and run the clock down. Nicely put into touch. And a very good kick downfield. Now France will have the line out about 40 metres out from their own line. And the clock is starting to really tick by quickly, but we see another debutant here. Caleb Clark will be taken off, and Fihi Finianofo will get his international debut. He had 17 tries throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season. And Jamie Hanna also has made his way onto the field. It was the late inclusion into this lineup due to the injury of Patrick Tuipulotu just before the kickoff. Now Maxime Luku, 40 metres out from his line, goes for the box kick downfield. This one's going to be contestable. Nice take from Ruben Love. Done nicely to be able to win the aerial challenge above Max Spring. Now sniping through. Cam Roigard goes short side to Satiti. Now Sam Derry. Had a solid 80 minutes throughout this matchup so far. Cam Roigard. Oh, that was weird. Ruben Love actually flinched there. He thought he was going to get hit with the ball. But he was first receiver. Clean out there from Jamie Hanna. Get rid of the French players in the breakdown. Fihefini Arnolfo cutting back in. Now this is his first touch of internationals. At least in union. He has played for the New Zealand 7 side. Has quite a bit of success. Nice offload there. Numi. It goes to Hanna, who threw the ball away. He was looking for another offload. Doesn't quite work out. And Portier cleans it up, a counter ruck. Billy Proctor leading the charge. Now Fihefini Arnolfo again has the ball in hand. 10 minutes remaining on the clock. New Zealand could set up for a big wide backline movement here. Proctor moves it on to McKenzie. They're just going sideways at the moment, but now to Jacobson. Tries to step, bends one off. Offload to Will Jordan on the inside. And it is another try for the All Blacks. It is another Will Jordan one, so him and Roigard both have 2. But the work in the breakdown there after the mistake from New Zealand to give the possession away. It was Billy Proctor as well as Ruben Love who were able to get that counter ruck, and then New Zealand taking it back, firing it out to the right-hand side. And then Jacobson managing to get a nice little fend going to then pass it on the inside to Will Jordan. Now we have got there, Checkmate Baby says Cyrus. Bobo France says Alex there, and that's game over, says LB, and up the All Blacks says Casey. Now 9 minutes remaining on the clock, and about 10 seconds of that will be used up by the Ruben Love kick. He's sitting 4 from 4 today. And Roigard, Proctor, Jordan, yes. Geordie, yes. Ruben Love, yes. But McKenzie, no. Says Faye, and he's just missed it away to the left this time for Ruben Love. Nice, says Jerome. Is there anything you think you can take away from this game? I think there'll be many things to take away. Once again, I think that this French side are much stronger than people feel with the fact that they've got those absentees. I think that second half-wise, you know, the subs have come on and New Zealand seem like they're starting to find their rhythm a little bit more. Jordan has looked sharp. That calf injury, blessing in disguise. Yeah, well, he'll be quite fresh. Oh, big break of the line now for Adi Savia. Now, a lot of space. McKenzie on the inside, throws it straight into the hands of the French, and they get the counter-attack going now. Went from a counter-attacking chance for New Zealand. It's turned straight back into a counter-attacking chance for France. Maxime Luku goes away to the left-hand side. Game's not over, says Suds Race. Yeah, a try here would definitely change things. I'm loving this, says Broderick Fall. Gazzotti up to the 22. Maxime Luku goes to Jalabert, looking for the kick in behind. It will find touch about 6 metres out from the line. And I from Brisbane in there too. Of course, we have got that game just around the corner between Australia and Ireland. It'll be the second of 5 games on the channel today. Big line out, thrown to the back, nicely taken by Satiti. Pressure on him straight away from Moafana though. So the All Blacks by 14. Now all they need is another try, says Spencer. They're a couple metres out from their line at the moment, the Kiwis. Currently the 9-point lead. France, if they can get another try soon, this game is far from over. Roigard with a good clearing kick. Adesogbe decides against going quickly. I agree, Hurricanes plus Jordan, says Faye. And please shout out to Cyan Barton from Auckland. It was before, wasn't it? But from Rosedale now. Wherever they're finally a decent clearing kick for Roigard, says my name. Now Maxime Luku. Ball in the hands of the French here again. Now across. Short ball from Jalibert to Atasogbi. Oh, big contact there with Savia. And he looks like he's slightly wobbled, Savia, but it looks like he's going to continue playing. A little bit of a counter ruck from Sam Derry. Moving it across again. Massa. It's Trois. Luku. Jalibert. Oh no, didn't quite get the skip pass going, but Atasogbi bounces out of a couple. Jordan trying to steal it in the breakdown. Couldn't do it. I know interested in Bam vs Italy starting soon. It overlaps, but I am going to be watching the replay of that one. But sadly, with the amount of international games, there's just no way of doing all of them. Now Maxime Luku, oh, big shot on him by Sam Derry. There's an advantage. They're trying to get another penalty here, France do. McKenzie has to retreat. And they'll go back now for the penalty. And keep it going, boys. Don't let your foot off the gas. Come on, the All Blacks, says Clayton. I lost your voice? Yeah. And the sad thing is we've still got another 10 hours of commentary today. Or somewhere around there. So I think it's going to be even more lost by the end of it. An eye from Zambia. Now we have got there, will we ever see the strongest French team? Probably in November and also the World Cup. But in July, probably we're never going to see it. Purely because of how long the top 14 season is. And that takes priority, which is, like, I think it's understandable. Like, at the end of the day, the French top 14, I'm trying to work out how I can say this without people getting all annoyed, but, like, it definitely is the pinnacle of club rugby, and there's so much money in it that, like, they want to have their players available for the final. Time you're going to bed tomorrow, probably, like, maybe lunchtime tomorrow. So in about 15 hours' time, somewhere around there. Roy Gardy is now off the field. Ratama has made his way on. 2 tries there for Cam Roigard. So there is still one man who can get himself a hat-trick out there on the field, and that is Will Jordan. Well, technically everyone could, I guess. Legendary commentary. World Rugby Association needs your talent. Now we have got there. Do the All Blacks actually have a good shot at a second try? As in, like, another try from here. I'd say first they have to survive the French for now. Legaric has also made his way on for Maxime Luku. Jim, I said excitement, listen to the commentary, says, Nema, thank you very much. Legaric in a good position here for France. 30 metres out, straight in front of the posts. This is where it gets serious. This is definitely business end of the match for the French. If they score now, or even if they get a 3-pointer, they aren't out of this game. But if New Zealand can defend well. Okay, they've just said there Cam Roigard did get the man of the match. He's just on the sideline having a bit of a chat with Bowden Barrett. Right, scrum goes in and free kick going the way of the French. Legaric looking to speed it up here. Passes across to Jalibert. Moves it on. One more to Max Spring. Good tackle from Barrett. Now back across to the right. They're still only 20 metres out from the line here, France. Now Massa. Legaric moves it across Jalibert. Oh, a little delayed, weird run there from Estoile. I think that was just because he was tripping over his feet in the process. Now close to the sideline to Portier. Now Guillard. Big, huge shot being put in from a Safwa more into the ribs. Now Ridawardi. Tackled there, Savia. They almost missed the clean out on him. He's lost his footing, so he has to leave it alone. Lekarek again passes across to Jagu. Tackled by Numia. 3 minutes left on the clock. If they score now, this game is not over. But if New Zealand can get a turnover, should be done and dusted. Reda Wardy. Tackled there by Hannah. That looked like a knock-on the ground from Wardy, but it is play on just for now to Portier. Oh, big collision there between Lomax and Sam Derry. Now Moafana getting that little bit closer. Satiti has to make the tackle straight through. Jalibert gets it down. Runs over Ratama. And now the French are not done. They are not out. And they've still got 2 minutes to try and get back into this game again. And they would only need a penalty to be able to do so. But there's a run and a half there from Jalibert, who just threw his body on the line, not afraid to take the contact, and just slams over to score the try, and the conversion is good. 2 minutes remain on the clock, 34 points to 32. Knocked on in the lead up. I thought that there was a little knock on from Wardy in the tackle of Hannah, but it hasn't been checked. So you'd assume that you'd like to think they would have checked it. And also, anyone still think it's game over. And also, he's on fire. He's had a phenomenal game, Mathieu Jalibert. He was the man who I said if France win this game, he would be the one that I'd give the man of the match to. They're just showing the replay in super slow-mo. Yeah, he slams it down. Jalibert, there's no denying that. And Rennie again. He's not happy with what he saw there. But now 1 minute 50 remaining on the clock now. France is searching for its first win versus the All Blacks since 2009 in New Zealand. They've lost the last 12 straight. And it's kicked off by Ruben Love. That is one benefit for New Zealand as they get to kick it to the French, who are deep inside of their own territory. Big solid shot from Jamie Hannah. And it's just a just roll away in time. Such a close game. Really thrilling stuff, says Big Belly So Trot. Taken by Geordie Barrett round the halfway line. Moafana, his opposite number, makes the tackle this time. Ratama looking off to the left, missed the pass to McKenzie. So instead has to take contact. Almost on it was Gazzotti. They've only got 1 minute 15. Do they start to look a little bit more defensive here, the Kiwis, and just try to put together phases? Jamie Hannah, couple meters for him. 40 meters out at the moment. The French are going to have to try and force a turnover. They've got a minute remaining, though, on the clock. New Zealand may even look to kick it back to them, depending on what happens now. Ratama, back across to the right, using up every second. It seems like New Zealand have gone into pretty much defense mode. Just hang on to this ball for 50 seconds, and then eventually boot the ball into touch. New Zealand asking for the penalty for offside. The French knowing that they need some big moment here. Ratama back across to Asafua Moore again. Desperation from the French defence to try and get the steal, but it's just not quite coming for them. 20 seconds remaining for New Zealand. 9 phases in a row. Satiti loses 5 metres. France turn it almost into an unplayable. Ratama again back to the right. 10 seconds remaining. This last breakdown. The French have to try and rip it away with everything they've got. They've got to go for the counter ruck, but they can't quite get it. Ratama back into the pocket. Booted into touch by Ruben Love, and the All Blacks win this game by 2. 34 points to 32. But they had to work hard for it, and again, it reminds me of what we saw last year in the first contest. New Zealand won that one by 4, 31-27. This French side, they showed up. They have certainly proven why they are in this squad, and in the end, there are plenty of battered and bruised players heading into their matches next week. For the Kiwis, they go on to face the Italians. For the French, they have got the Australians. We have got then on pressed by Dave Rennie and the All Blacks, says Hano. Mackenzie's trash, says SN. We have got their 2 points against the B-side. Lol, says Peter. Yeah, it's been talked about all throughout the week about the B-side side of things, but tell you what, if this is France's B-side, they're going to be a real contender heading into that Rugby World Cup, and everyone else should definitely be taking notice of this team. We have got their B-side, my butt, you French. Just salty, says David. And we have their man of the match awarded to soon, Jalibert, says Paul. Yeah, if his side had won this game, I think Jalibert would have been the clear man of the match. Roygaard was definitely a standout for New Zealand, though. There's no denying that. Had some brilliant moments, scoring the 2 tries, which definitely helped his side. Great game, well done to the All Blacks, says Ronnie. And also, not all great result, thanks, Hamish, says Moa Hunters. And great game, well done to the All Blacks, says Ronnie in there too. Someone explained and kicked the ball away with 90 seconds left on the clock, says LB. And great win, All Blacks. Well done, congratulations. In your opinion, it was the deepest nation. I read an article saying in the States it was South Africa. Would you agree, says Robert? Depends on what you're looking for. I think that a lot of countries feel like they have very good depth, and normally there is a bit of bias behind it. Like if you're from South Africa, you're going to say South Africa has the best depth. If you're from France, you'll say France has the best. Ireland will say Ireland has the best. New Zealand will say New Zealand. So it just depends on where you're from, really. But a lot of depth coming up through the younger talent for each of the nations, really. We have got there, you're looking down in France. They are good, yeah. And I said about it all throughout the week. I said about what happened last year too. People were too quick to discredit this French side that, again, almost won this game. We have got there Southern 1, Northern 0. Says Shane, we won a bit of rust. I don't want to use the warm-up game excuse. And Damien was off today. Bowden is needed. Says Mashihu, yeah, there's certainly going to be some big questions about who are going to be selected next week. We will be trying our best to predict Dave Rennie's side up against the Italians. That'll be a headache and a half, but we'll be trying to get it right. Good first run of the season for the ABs, and a winner's win. I hope the ABs can build going forward. Says native English there. We've set out the ABs will be a different side when they visit us in South Africa, says Paul. But, yeah, the 2-point victory in the end for the Kiwis here. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. Our next live stream is taking place in around 45 minutes' time, and that will be the game between Australia and Ireland. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.